Chief, the corpses from earlier have all vanished. The entire camp is empty. Apart from us, there's no one around and not a sound to be heard. Same here, nothing. Nothing here either, it's all empty. By the bamboo building, with Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, and the others gradually returning, Xia Hong put away the mirror in his hand and stopped pondering. Chief Xia Hong, we've searched the warehouse, the cellar, and all the houses. There's no one left. Everyone who worshipped the mirror immortal and committed suicide has likely been taken by He Yuanhun's different space. Yuan Dao also quickly returned with 40 people. Seeing Yuan Dao and his group, Xia Hong revealed an intriguing expression. Just now, he had only instructed Xia Chuan and the 67 others to search the Mirror Immortals camp. But Yuan Dao also took men and went there upon hearing the order. The implication of this is quite clear. Yuan Dao obviously noticed Xia Hong's look, exchanged glances with Hong Tian, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, and Zhu Yuan beside him, saw the four nod, pondered for a moment, and slowly walked up to Xia Hong. If you wouldn't mind, we hope Chief Xia Hong will take us in, as well as the remaining 3,000 people in the camp. We are willing to join Great Xia and faithfully serve Chief Xia Hong without any hesitance. Yuan Dao showed a faint plea on his face and slightly bowed after speaking. Hong Tian, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, and Zhu Yuan followed suit, bowing with him, and the 36 others from the earth-digging realm also bowed deeply to Xia Hong. Seeing this scene, Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, and the rest of the Great Xia people immediately showed a trace of excitement, their expressions brimming with enthusiasm. However, Xia Hong had anticipated this scene, so his expression didn't change much. With Yuan Hu dead and He Yuanhun gone, there were over 3,000 people left in the Mirror Immortal camp, but only a little over 40 in the earth-digging realm. It's impossible to continue relying on this small number of people to sustain the rest by holding onto the arrow bamboo forest. Not just Great Xia, even the hive camp on the Pinxi Plain would certainly not tolerate them if they learned of the situation. Moreover, Xia Hong hadn't come all the way here tonight solely to eliminate the deceitful monster. Yuan Dao is a smart person and naturally knows how to choose. Stand up. From now on, we're all one family. It's getting late. Have your people inventory the remaining valuable assets in the camp. Take the essential ones tonight and leave the rest to be collected later. Though he was quite sure Xia Hong wouldn't refuse, actually hearing his answer made Yuan Dao's heart heave a sigh of relief. Considering the current strength of Great Xia, whether Xia Hong would agree without hesitation was indeed uncertain. The strength of Great Xia mainly lies in Chief Xia Hong. The strength of the subordinates is quite average. And to support many people, relying on one person is surely not enough. Moreover, Great Xia only has just over 1,000 people in total. How to manage and integrate these over 3,000 people will indeed be a huge challenge. Whether Xia Hong has other plans, Yuan Dao couldn't be sure either. Fortunately, Xia Hong's confidence and decisiveness far exceeded his expectations. Hong Tian notified Hong Guang to have those 3,000 people wait a while in the arrow bamboo forest. Tonight we'll move directly to Great Xia. Meng Yi take people to move the coal, Zhu Ling take people to move the iron, Zhu Yuan move the raw bamboo silk, the crystal fruits, and the cold beast meat. Let's make it quick and efficient. With Yuan Dao's order, apart from Hong Tian going to the south side of the arrow bamboo forest, the remaining 39 earth-digging realm members immediately divided into 3 groups and began transporting materials. Chief, let's go help too. Of course, Xia Chuan and the others didn't stay idle. Hearing about moving materials, their eyes lit up and they all followed. Last time Xia Hong killed He Meng and his group of 25, they gained such abundant resources. Now they're seizing the entire camp's resources of the Mirror Immortal. A giant camp of 12,000 people. One can only imagine how abundant the stored resources are. Xia Hong did not accompany the others to tally up the materials but walked to the collapsed wall of the bamboo building, pulled out a section of snow-white bamboo, and examined it carefully. The bamboo has an approximate diameter of 10 centimeters. Other than its unique snow-white color, it's not very different from the green bamboo in the arrow bamboo forest. Of course, the most important aspect is that this white bamboo is covered with a layer of dense spikes over 10 centimeters long. Recalling when he approached the bamboo building earlier, these spikes seemed to come alive and shot at him, causing Xia Hong's brows to furrow slightly. This white bamboo somewhat resembles the green bamboo fence, just with slightly less impact force, about 8 to 9,000 pounds. It's sufficient for fending off low-level cold beasts, but I wonder about its yield. Though the green bamboo fence's spikes have a force of 10,000 pounds, the density of these spikes is not as good as this snow-white bamboo, which piqued Xia Hong's interest. If this snow-white bamboo has a high yield, using it to encircle the camp would certainly have strong defensive power. However, that's probably not very likely. Xia Hong glanced at the bamboo building and shook his head slightly. This bamboo building is where he Yuanhun lived, and it's the only one in the entire Mirror Immortal, which suggests its yield isn't high, or it's very difficult to obtain. Chief, this is called snow bamboo. The spiky layer outside can autonomously sense and attack enemies from the front. It generally grows deep in the arrow bamboo forest, emerging after every cold beast tide. If not harvested promptly, it'll turn into ordinary green bamboo. So over the years, we've only managed to collect a little bit. Chapter 311, Chapter 168, Snow Bamboo Longyu, Sudden Wealth /2. Yuan Dao, who had returned, saw Xia Hong observing the bamboo and immediately came up to explain. As expected, Xia Hong put down the snow bamboo, remembering the cold beast tide that occurred every 4 months in the arrow bamboo forest, and his expression changed slightly. How much do you know about the cold beast tide in the arrow bamboo forest? Yuan Dao paused for a moment, then quickly realized that after they merged with the Great Xia, the arrow bamboo forest naturally became part of Great Xia's territory, so it was normal for Xia Hong to inquire about the situation. After pondering for a moment, he said, I don't know the specific cause, only that it happens every 4 months, coinciding with the maturation period of the ice trees, and the number is extremely large, estimated to be over 10,000. Hearing the number over 10,000, Xia Hong's expression froze. No wonder he wasn't aware. A cold beast tide numbering in the tens of thousands would make not just he Yuanhun and Yuan Hu, but even him, avoided upon sight. Not to mention trying to investigate it, if accidentally caught in, there would be no chance of escape, most likely to be crushed into pieces directly. 10,000 of them, how large is the arrow bamboo forest, and they've never once breached into this basin. The cold beasts' sizes are extremely terrifying, with intermediate cold beasts reaching 7 or 8 meters in length, let alone the advanced or even more formidable ones. A gathering of tens of thousands of cold beasts every 4 months. It's already absurd that the arrow bamboo forest hasn't been leveled to the ground. It's even more unbelievable that the Mirror Immortal camp, located a mere kilometer north of the arrow bamboo forest, hasn't been discovered by the cold beasts. Upon hearing the voice, Yuan Dao immediately took out a beast scroll from his arms. This is the map we previously drawn. Please take a look, leader. As Yuan Dao unfolded it and began explaining, Xia Hong gained a clear understanding of the arrow bamboo forest and the geography of the Pingxi Plain area. Generally, the arrow bamboo forest should be located on the northern ridge of Twin Dragon Mountain, with only a mountain road separating it from the Redwood Ridge to the west. This bamboo forest should be oriented east-west, meaning the side near Redwood Ridge is the west end of the bamboo forest. The basin where the Mirror Immortal camp is situated is 1 kilometer north of the bamboo forest, located on the eastern side of the Pingxi Plain, and further east is once again the northern ridge of Twin Dragon Mountain. I heard from he Yuanhun that the arrow bamboo forest runs east-west, measuring roughly 70 kilometers. Aside from the cold beast tide every 4 months, a very small number of cold beasts remain inside, making hunting difficult for us previously, which is why. Here Yuan Dao paused, a hint of apology on his face. This is why they were so eager to seize the Redwood Ridge from Great Xia. Xia Hong naturally understood the reason, waving his hand slightly to indicate it was fine. The difficulty of hunting stems firstly from the scarcity of cold beasts, and secondly from the extremely monotonous variety of cold beasts in the arrow bamboo forest, with almost 90% being a type known as the white bear, which is entirely snow-white with a strong ability to hide and incredible defenses. While the low-level ones are manageable, the intermediate ones are nearly impossible to hunt unless my father or he Yuanhun personally takes action. As Yuan Dao spoke, he opened another scroll. Xia Hong took the scroll and saw that it recorded a total of 21 types of cold beasts, and his eyes immediately lit up. The Great Xia Cold Beast Record, until now, only had detailed records of Bone Spur Frost Wolf, Long-Tongue Snow Mane, Golden-Eyed Demon Sheep, Blue Moon Elf, Cloud Mist Tengjiao, long-tailed rodent, and golden-armored thunder Kui, totaling 7 types. Flipping through the scroll, indeed, the 7 types recorded by Great Xia were all included. Among the 4 intermediate cold beasts, Fire Stone Tiger, Frost Electric Ape, and Green Thunder Roar, sent by He Yuanhun during his previous visit to Great Xia, were also present. In addition to these 10, there were 11 other types that Xia Hong had never seen before. The white bear mentioned by Yuan Dao was also among them. Placing the cold beast scroll aside, Xia Hong continued to look at the map, listening to Yuan Dao's subsequent explanations. The Arrow Bamboo Forest runs a total of over 70 kilometers east-west. Previously, He Yuanhun personally led the only advanced hunting team from the camp, and the deepest they ventured was 20 kilometers, during which he was injured. It is said that he encountered a group of intermediate white bears. Unable to reach the depths in the east, we could only explore from north to south. Just over 6 months ago, we completed exploring a 10-kilometer area on the western side of the Arrow Bamboo Forest, discovering a small path and the Redwood Ridge. It's almost daybreak. Today should be March 19th. The first contact with He Meng and others occurred when resolving the rodent swarm. Xia Hong still remembers. At that time, He Meng said that 3 months ago, the Arrow Bamboo Forest had already been ceded to the Mirror Immortals. Calculating this, the timing matches just right. Looking at the map, which marked 10 kilometers north-south on the western side of the Arrow Bamboo Forest, Xia Hong showed a peculiar expression. 10 miles north-south, this is still the western end of the Arrow Bamboo Forest, the narrowest place, including the 20 kilometers that He Yuanhun led the team to venture into. This area does not even make up 1/10 of the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest. Yet He Meng dared to claim that the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest belonged to the Mirror Immortal camp. That's really too much bragging. From the depth of exploration, it barely makes sense. With a total of 70 kilometers east-west, He Yuanhun's team had already delved into about a third of the way. Given that his own strength was slightly superior to He Yuanhun's, leading the team further should be no problem, so calculating it this way, claiming the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest should not be too far off. So, the resource area of the Mirror Immortal camp in general consists of the western side of the Arrow Bamboo Forest. The surroundings of the camp are considered your activity area, and your overall territory is roughly. Chapter 312, Chapter 168, Snow Bamboo Longyu Sudden Wealth Part 3. Xia Hong encompassed the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest on the scroll, then circled the basin and its surrounding areas within it. This area, an area stretching 20 kilometers from north to south and more than 70 kilometers from east to west, was drawn on the scroll. Seeing Yuan Dao nod in agreement, Xia Hong furrowed his brows, pointed to the large plain on the west side of the basin, and whispered, "Pinxi Plain, you never go there." Xia Hong had already observed the general situation of Pinxi Plain last night, when passing through the Arrow Bamboo Forest before arriving at the Mirror Immortal camp. Though it was a vast, icy snow plain overall, a few mountains and hills stood in the middle. There was vegetation covered with ice, just not as much as in Redwood Ridge. Judging by the terrain, Pinxi Plain certainly wasn't lacking in cold beasts either. If hunting in the Arrow Bamboo Forest was difficult, why not just go to Pinxi Plain? Hive camp. Hearing Xia Hong's slightly speculative tone, Yuan Dao nodded helplessly. Our basin should generally be located at the southeastern corner of Pinxi Plain. To the west and north lies the territory of Hive Camp. Previously, we've dealt with Hive Camp several times. To be honest, by themselves, they can't stop us from entering Pinxi Plain. At this point, Yuan Dao paused and slowly uttered 4 words. Longyu Alliance. After an explanation, Xia Hong finally understood why the Mirror Immortal camp dared not venture into Pinxi Plain anymore. No one knows the full extent of Pinxi Plain, but not far from Hive Camp, there are 11 other enormous camps with populations exceeding 10,000. These 12 camps have united to form the Longyu Alliance, prohibiting any other camps from stepping foot in Pinxi Plain. If anyone violates this, they collectively target them. Longyu. Hearing this name, a strange look appeared on Xia Hong's face. He didn't ask about the alliance's details but was intrigued by the name, so he inquired, "Why call it the Longyu Alliance?" Yuan Dao pointed to the left side of the scroll, far west of the Mirror Immortal camp, where a towering mountain was marked. This mountain is named Long, and a camp called Longshan resides here. I heard from my father that this alliance has lasted for decades, initially proposed by the Longshan camp. Since the other 11 camps are east of Long Mountain, they named it the Long Yu Alliance. Xia Hong nodded, understanding now, and a thoughtful expression appeared on his face. It's not surprising for multiple camps to band together for territorial self-preservation. Before Redwood Ridge, Rojal Camp also took the lead in dividing territories. The Long Yu Alliance is roughly equivalent to what happened with Redwood Ridge before, only a more reinforced version. They not only partitioned the eastern side of Pinxi Plain, but also united to exclude outsiders. The leader probably noticed as well that to the north of Redwood Ridge, it should extend into Pinxi Plain. As far as I know, Hive Camp also enters Redwood Ridge from the north for hunting. In the long run, given this depth, will surely clash with Great Xia, our camp. Mistakenly mentioning Great Xia, Yuan Dao quickly corrected himself to say our camp. Xia Hong didn't mind. After looking at the map, his expression slightly tightened. Great Xia Valley is located to the east of Redwood Ridge. Hive Camp, situated in Pinxi Plain, is to the north of Redwood Ridge. If both camps continuously expand their resource collection range deeper into Redwood Ridge, they will inevitably encounter each other in the future. Xia Hong slightly shook his head, finding it a bit laughable how everyone in Great Xia, including himself, always regarded Redwood Ridge as Great Xia's private property. So far, Great Xia has ventured only about 3 to 4 kilometers into Redwood Ridge from the east, with a north-south span of roughly 10 kilometers, which is a tiny fraction compared to the entirety of Redwood Ridge. Previously, they claimed He Meng was boasting, and wasn't he doing the same? Hand the map over to me. After returning, I will merge this map with Great Xia's existing ones, making the camp's territorial scopes clear in the future. Receiving the map from Yuan Dao, a spark of excitement flashed across Xia Hong's face. A single map might not mean much. What's crucial is the connotations behind this map. The areas that Mirror Immortal Camp has explored, and the territories it has occupied over these years. Starting tonight, they belong to Great Xia. After expending so much beast blood, utilizing so many system resources, risking his life to break through to the cold resistance level, surviving the cold beast tide, and taking enormous risks to eliminate Mirror Immortal Camp and drive away He Yuan Han. Everything Xia Hong did finally came to fruition at this moment. Yet the harvest extends far beyond this. People whom Yuan Dao just sent out started returning one after another. Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, and other members of Great Xia also returned with them. Over 100 people, nearly everyone carried a huge leather bag on their back. The people from Mirror Immortal Camp were all right. But the members of Great Xia, the smiles on their faces were almost impossible to conceal. If it weren't for considering Yuan Dao and others' feelings, they might have shouted in excitement upon seeing Xia Hong. Meng Yi instinctively walked toward Yuan Dao, ready to speak when he noticed Yuan Dao's signaling glance. Immediately understanding, he bowed to Xia Hong and said, "Leader, the camp's reserve of iron ore totals more than 1.9 million pounds, all counted. It's a bit difficult to transport all at once. We can only bring people to carry them later." Zhu Ling followed behind and bowed to Xia Hong, saying, "Leader, the coal stone reserves amount to 2.7 million pounds. We can only take part of it back tonight, and we'll have to send people to carry the rest later." Zhu Yuan was the last to arrive and spoke. "Leader, there are more than 90,000 pounds of raw bamboo silk, 210,000 pounds of crystal fruit, over 70,000 pounds of beast meat, and 1,500 pounds of beast blood, already loaded and ready to depart at any time. Killing and arson bring gold belts, the ancients didn't lie to me. 1.9 million pounds of iron, 2.7 million pounds of coal, and these are just the reserves. How many finished weapons, usable iron tools must there be? This time it's truly striking it rich." The admiration in Xia Hong's heart was not yet over when Yuan Dao spoke again. "By the way, leader, there are 2 iron mines on the camp's east side and a coal mine in the Arrow Bamboo Forest, all not fully mined yet. Their specific locations are also marked on the map. You'll know after you return and look." After Yuan Dao and his party finished their report, Xia Chuan and others, who'd been waiting patiently for a long time, finally couldn't hold back and spoke up. "Leader, we've gathered over 4,700 pieces of weapons, more than 700 of which have a capacity exceeding 1,000 pounds, 700 iron core bows with over 10,000 pound draw weight, and the remaining 3,300 pieces. Over 1,000 have 500 stone draw-weight iron core bows. The rest are over 500 pounds each. On hearing this astonishing weapons quantity, Xia Hong couldn't help but smile with joy. Distribute the weapons and take them all back, as well as the raw bamboo silk, crystal fruit, beast meat, and beast blood. Leave the coal, stone, and iron ore. I can take them by myself. On hearing Xia Hong, Yuan Dao and the others looked stunned. 1.9 million pounds of iron, 2.7 million pounds of coal, totaling 4.6 million pounds of supplies. How could Xia Hong carry them alone? Soon they understood. When they saw all the iron ore and coal vanish upon Xia Hong's touch in the warehouse, the 41 members of Yuan Dao's group were instantly dumbfounded. Let's move, head back first. Xia Hong paid it no mind at all. Seeing everyone had distributed the goods, he directly ordered to set off back to the valley. Chapter 313, Chapter 169, Trade Bamboo Silk Gathering Focus. In the Ice Abyss world, although there is little communication between camps, there are still very obvious similarities in the regulations of certain items. For example, weaponry is a good example. Like in Great Xia, the weapons in the Mirror Immortal camp also largely have two types of specifications according to their weight, divided into 500 jin and above, and 1,000 jin and above. The iron core bow is even more apparent. Although the bowstrings used are different, the tensile force is also divided into two types, between 5,000 to 10,000 and above 10,000 jin. Additionally, the weight of the bow body for the former is about 300 jin, while the latter is 600 jin. This is basically the same as the current regulations in Great Xia. The reason is simple. Weapons in the end are meant for people to use. Due to different personal talents, there are various styles like knives, spears, swords, and halberds, but their weights aren't likely to differ too much. After all, a threshold of 5,000 jin for the logging realm and 10,000 jin for the earth-digging realm is consistent across all camps. Among over 4,700 weapons, the lightest iron core bow weighs over 300 jin, and the heaviest long spear weighs even more than 3,000 jin. Even assuming an average weight of 1,000 jin, it would at least amount to over 4 million jin. The earth-digging realm members coming over tonight only amount to just over 100 people, and although all of them are of the earth-digging realm cultivation, it's certainly impossible to carry all these weapons back barehanded. Fortunately, the Mirror Immortal camp has iron sledges with wheels. The moment they saw those iron sledges, not to mention Xia Chuan and the others, even Xia Hong showed a slight hint of surprise in his eyes. Great Xia had produced sledges some time ago. But except for the axles and crucial parts made of iron, the main materials used were basically wood. No one dared to think of crafting one entirely out of pure iron. Yet the Mirror Immortal camp actually had 3 of them. Truly, they have deep resources and are extremely wealthy. On the snowfield north of Arrow Bamboo Forest, 3 gigantic 2-wheeled carts lined up in a straight line heading south. At the front of each cart, there were over 20 people pulling rough iron chains, talking as they walked, without any sign of straining. At the forefront of the team, more than 10 people continuously cleared the snow from the road, paving an easy path for the 3 sledges to travel, so the sledges were not slow at all, and soon they saw the Arrow Bamboo Forest. This sledge has a total weight of 500,000 jin, and it can carry cargo weighing up to 5 times its body weight, driven by just over 20 earth-digging realm individuals. It used to be used by our camp to transport goods for trading with the Hive camp. At the rear, Xia Hong and his group were already focused on the sledges. The moment they heard Yuan Dao's explanation, they couldn't help but click their tongues. The sledge is more than 10 meters long, and they had guessed its weight was not light, but 500,000 jin was far beyond their expectations. Only Xia Hong's face showed little surprise. The density of iron in the Ice Abyss world is far greater than in the ordinary world. A fist-sized piece weighs 40 to 50 jin, so considering the sledge's size, 500,000 jin is quite reasonable. However, upon hearing Yuan Dao's subsequent words, he suddenly asked with interest, "Trading with the Hive camp?" Yuan Dao nodded. Remembering that Great Xia isn't very large, he realized that Xia Hong might not know much about many camps, so he immediately explained, "Actually, most camps have limited resources due to location constraints, and it's necessary to find ways to exchange resources with other camps. However, firstly, camps are heavily suspicious of each other, making it hard to trust one another. Secondly, geographical distance is also an issue. Camps without strength can't even travel too far, let alone talk about trading with other camps. Therefore, successful resource exchanges usually happen between two camps that are not too far apart and have comparable strength. Fortunately, the Hive and the Mirror Immortal meet these two conditions. This situation is quite similar to when Rogel camped at Redwood Ridge previously, where other small camps exchanged a small amount of iron weapons using wood and crystal fruits from them. Xia Hong pondered for a moment, then immediately asked, "You were short of cold beast meat and cold beast blood before. You must have traded iron and coal with the Hive camp for these two things, right?" Among the materials just inventoried, cold beast meat and beast blood were the fewest in number. Seeing how accurately Xia Hong guessed, Yuan Dao nodded immediately. "That's right, cold beast is one of the most scarce resources in the Mirror Immortal camp. Most of the time, we trade with the Hive camp for cold beast meat." "At what ratio do you trade then?" It's obvious to Xia Hong why they only trade for cold beast meat and not beast blood. Beast blood is the key resource for Earth-digging realm to break through to the cold resistance level and is quite difficult to obtain. Any slightly smarter camp would surely keep it for their own use. Since the Hive camp is equal in strength to the Mirror Immortal camp, they likely aren't generous enough to trade such material. Upon hearing Xia Hong's question about the exchange ratio, Yuan Dao's face showed a hint of helplessness, shaking his head as he said, 40 jin of iron ore or 70 jin of coal stone can be exchanged for 1 jin of cold beast meat. Hiss. As Yuan Dao finished speaking, before Xia Hong could speak, Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Chuan, Yue Feng, and the other great Xia members around them all gasped, their eyes wide open, full of shock on their faces. Of course, Xia Hong was no exception. "So the leader knows why we were so envious of Redwood Ridge, right?" Yuan Dao didn't even need to add the latter part of his sentence. The people of Great Xia had already realized it all. They had always been sitting over such a treasure land. Chapter 314. Chapter 169 Trade Bamboo Silk, Focus /2. Xia Hong was dumbfounded at this moment. If he had known earlier that cold beast meat could be exchanged for so much iron and coal, he wouldn't have had to leave the camp's earth-digging realm every day, miserably staying in the mines. No. This is just an exception. You have to happen to encounter a camp that lacks cold beast resources. Moreover, it just so happens that this camp does not lack iron and coal. Furthermore, the strength of the two camps has to be comparable. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an exchange but annexation and attack. Very quickly, Xia Hong realized the crux of the matter. This can't be considered a real exchange ratio. But Xia Hong also realized the importance of communication with other camps. This is how the ice abyss world is. Unequal resource exchanges are normal. No matter how strong or weak, almost all camps are limited by their geography. To get things from other places, they can only exchange with others. Ultimately, these exchange rates depend on which side needs more. Hearing Yuan Dao's words, not only Xia Hong but also Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and others nodded slightly, and the excitement on their faces calmed down. Cold beast resources are essential materials for the cultivation of logging, earth digging, and cold resistance realms. They are considered hard currency needed by all camps. Iron and coal are of course important, but the problem is that the threshold for obtaining them is not high. Medium-sized camps with earth-digging realms can generally mine them themselves as long as they find coal and iron mines. The Hive camp's strength is equal to that of the Mirror Immortal. They must have coal and iron mines in their possession. Plus, they're not short of cold beast meat, so this unequal trade is inevitable. Of course, on our side, there are also things that the Hive camp wants. Raw bamboo silk and snow bamboo are the two most important ones. Raw bamboo silk. A gleam appeared in Xia Hong's eyes as he took out a length of transparent white thread from his hand. This white thread was not the first time he had seen it. When they first killed He Meng, He Gang, and their group, Xia Hong had already seen it on the longbow they confiscated from their hands. This bamboo silk is used to make bowstring material, right? Yuan Dao nodded and then shook his head, then used a knife to cut a small piece from his clothing and handed it to Xia Hong. Not just for bowstrings. When roasted in furnace fire, this raw bamboo silk becomes much softer, but its toughness remains unchanged. Cloth woven from this silk is very comfortable to wear and has strong warmth retention and even some defensive properties. It's considered our camp's most important material, and trading it with the hive camp for cold beast meat is also the most cost-effective. A pound of bamboo silk can be exchanged for a pound of meat. Paper cloth silk. Xia Hong touched that small piece of clothing, feeling its soft and comfortable texture, gently tugging it and noticing its good toughness. His eyes suddenly lit up, and 3 items popped into his mind. Boss, the uses of this raw bamboo silk aren't limited to these. The bow we made for you has its bowstring crafted by mixing bamboo silk and intermediate tang jiao tendon, a method developed by Mu Dong. Upon hearing Xia Chuan's words, Xia Hong immediately nodded. Seeing Yuan Dao's curious expression, he directly tossed the giant bow he had at his back to him. Yuan Dao took the giant bow, looked at the bowstring material, and indeed found it was mixed with jiao tendon and bamboo silk. Then, with a forceful pull, he couldn't even draw it halfway. This bow can withstand a pull of 100,000 pounds. Aside from the big brother, no one else can use it for now. Hearing Xia Chuan's explanation, Yuan Dao's pupils immediately contracted. Then, thinking of something, he also ran to a cart in front and fetched a bow and arrow, handing it to Xia Hong. Xia Hong immediately recognized it was the bow Yuan who had previously used. My father's bow doesn't use ordinary raw bamboo silk. It uses snow bamboo silk. Its production is extremely rare, and it only appears a little during the cold beast tide each year. As soon as Yuan Dao finished speaking, others immediately understood his point. The bowstring of the bow in Xia Hong's hand was made of bamboo silk confiscated from He Meng and others. This means that ordinary raw bamboo silk, along with intermediate tang jiao tendon, can directly match the toughness of snow bamboo silk after being baked. But what if snow bamboo silk is fused with jiao tendon? At this point, even Xia Hong was feeling somewhat unsettled. His basic strength now reached as high as 900,000 pounds. He had to hold back a bit when using this bow that requires 100,000 pounds of force. If a bow could be made to withstand his full strength, that would be perfect. We're here, Hong Tian and Hong Guang have arrived. After walking for just a short while, everyone had reached the edge of the arrow bamboo forest. Seeing Hong Guang and Hong Tian from afar, Yuan Dao quickly alerted. As the two led the way, the group continued towards the edge of the bamboo forest, and beyond a mound, the campfire and dense crowd slowly came into view. Seeing those over 3,000 people, Xia Hong was slightly stunned. Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and others were as well. The reason was simple. At a glance, they discovered that out of those 3,000 people, more than half were actually children. The adults formed an outer circle, with older children holding babies in the middle, and those under 10 huddling together for warmth. The size of the group made it easy to distinguish. Noticing the expressions of Xia Hong and others, Yuan Dao thought they might be displeased and quickly explained. Probably because adults have a deeper understanding of the harshness of the ice abyss world, they are more easily bewitched by the mirror immortal, whereas these children, not knowing much of the outside world, have still survived. Chapter 315. Chapter 169 Trade Bamboo Silk, Regaining Focus /3. Xia Hong nodded, a smile appearing on his face. It's fine. Hearing Xia Hong's calm tone, Yuan Dao finally relaxed and signaled to Hong Guang, Hong Tian, and others to quickly organize people and start migrating to Great Xia Valley. When Hong Tian came over earlier, he should have already informed Hong Guang and discussed with everyone about merging into Great Xia. So although everyone looked very sad about the migration, there was no objection. Only some adults showed signs of resistance. The vast majority of the children had red eyes, their faces full of confusion. Some were obviously still sobbing, but their voices were very small. Only a few young ones occasionally looked at Xia Hong, their faces mostly showing curiosity and exploration, characteristic of their age. Considering the mortality rate of Mirror Immortal, most of these children probably lost their parents, in other words, became orphans. Emotionally, Xia Hong naturally sympathized with them, but from a rational perspective, these children, as long as Great Xia nurtures them diligently, will integrate into the camp the fastest and have the strongest sense of belonging to it. Xia Chuan, go back to the camp first and organize a group to come and pick up these children. It's too slow for them to walk like this. Xia Chuan turned his head, glanced at the gradually brightening sky, nodded immediately and hurried back south. Last night's cold beast tide increased sharply, the wooden house had collapsed, and the valley was a mess. The base should still be in a rebuilding phase, theoretically leaving no spare hands. But Xia Hong still ordered Xia Chuan to go. Firstly, to leave a good impression on these children and the people of Mirror Immortal. Secondly, dawn was coming. Just the section of Arrow Bamboo Forest alone was 10 miles. After exiting the forest to the valley, they still had to walk 6 or 7 miles. If they didn't speed up, there would be a big problem by daylight. Thirdly, Great Xia's losses last night, strictly speaking, were mostly in terms of property, with little loss of life. Xia Hong had been paying attention from the beginning to the end. No one in the earth-digging realm died. The children on the lower floors were promptly moved to the 3rd floor. Only the logging realm on the 1st floor suffered some impact from the cold beast at the last stage. Casualties were only about 10 people at most. Compared to what Mirror Immortal Camp experienced that night, Great Xia, which only had its wooden house destroyed, was extremely fortunate. Urge the people in front to speed up. Those pulling the carts move faster, rotate shifts. It's almost dawn, everybody make haste. With Xia Hong's command, Hong Guang, Hong Tian, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, including Yuan Dao, all earth-digging realm members started pulling the carts. Those not pulling went ahead to encourage the procession. Everyone knew dawn was imminent, so their pace quickened. As the sky began to lighten, the leading group finally caught sight of the outline of Twin Dragon Mountain. At the same time, a team of 300 to 400 people, with over 100 makeshift wooden carts, was approaching from the east side of Redwood Ridge. Children, come on up, we'll tow you back. I can take 20 here. I can handle 30 over here. Come on, children who can't walk, come over. Injured ones can come too, let's hurry up, it's about to be daylight. The enthusiasm of everyone from Great Xia left Yuan Dao and Hong Guang slightly stunned, with a trace of emotion in their eyes. And those adults from Mirror Immortal Camp, regardless of their cultivation in the logging realm, immediately joined the people from Great Xia in helping the children onto the carts. If not pulling alongside, they stayed behind to help push forward. The children urged or directly carried onto the carts were initially a bit bewildered, but as they were towed along and saw the busy figures around them, warmth kindled on their faces. At the back of the procession, seeing the performance of the Great Xia people, Xia Hong's face showed a strong sense of approval. Xia Chuan, that kid is really getting things done. No doubt it was Xia Chuan who instructed these people. Xia Chuan's ability was indeed growing stronger. This maneuver may not immediately gain the consensus of these people for Great Xia, but at least it set a good precedent. Clearly, those few adults who had shown resistance had visibly softened their expression. Some of them even started conversing with the people from Great Xia. It looked like they were clearly inquiring about various aspects of Great Xia. Chapter 316, Chapter 170, Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 1. The wooden hut structure has completely collapsed, and many iron components are totally damaged and useless. Rebuilding it in a short time is impossible, so we can only set up a temporary wooden hut to make do. The crowd swarmed in, entering the valley smoothly before dawn. Seeing the temporary wooden hut, the people from the Mirror Immortal Camp couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. Xia Hong, however, didn't mind. Hearing Xia Chuan's explanation, he nodded and led everyone directly into the wooden hut. Great Xia already had over 1,000 people. With the influx of more than 3,000 people, the wooden hut became extremely crowded. Fortunately, Luo Yuan, Yuan Dao, and others managed the flow. Otherwise, many would have no place to sit and would have to stand. This cold beast tide, though it didn't cause much human casualty, devastated the wooden hut entirely, including significant losses in camp property. Initially, we didn't know that the Mirror Immortal people would join us, so we only built the wooden hut 50 meters wide. Today, we'll have to squeeze in a bit, and at night, I'll lead some people to expand it. By the fire, Xia Hong sat on the ground with others. Hearing Xia Chuan's words, Xia Hong waved his hand slightly and said, "No rush for now. The population has suddenly multiplied several times, and it's time to carefully plan the settlement. Whether to rebuild it in the old style or come up with a new plan, since everyone is here, let's discuss it." Camp Great Xia Level 0. Lord Xia Hong. Cultivation, Cold Resistance Level. Territory Population, 4621. Resources, Wood 120k, Coal 145k, Iron 210k, Silver 0, Gold 0. Open Building 6, Iron Refining Furnace Level 2, Martial Arts Training Ground Level 2, Medicine Decoction Pot Level 1, Polishing Stone Level 1, Green Bamboo Fence Level 1, Marking Stone Level 1. Unopened Buildings 3, Yellow Earth Small Wooden Table Rough Iron Chain. Taking advantage of the moment of contemplation among everyone, Xia Hong opened the camp panel and, seeing the numbers in the resource bar, gradually felt a surge of excitement, experiencing for the first time the feeling of becoming affluent. 2.7 million jin of coal, 1.9 million jin of iron, all had been converted by him. If he hadn't consumed a lot during his previous seclusion, these numbers should have been several tens of thousands more. Wood is easy to obtain, and with so much coal and iron, it's enough for me to upgrade all existing 6 buildings once. This time, it's really a fortune. And this is just the one-time gain, not to mention the countless indirect resources to be obtained from the 2 iron mines and 1 coal mine mentioned by Yuan Dao. Of course, aside from the resource harvest, the explosive increase in population also delighted Xia Hong. Last time, after the deaths of Li Yun and Li Pingkai, the total population of Great Xia was 1086. 9 died in last night's cold beast tide, leaving 1077 people. The Mirror Immortal camp brought in 3544 people this time. The total population of Great Xia camp surged to 4621 people. This leaves a shortfall of only 379 people from the giant camp, standard of 5,000 people. With the population suddenly skyrocketing this much, the urgent need for replanning isn't limited to just the settlement. Whether the camp's subordinate institutions need additional setups and the specific personnel allocation for each department, including changes that might be needed for future hunting teams, logging teams, and collection teams. Everyone seemed to have a premonition of the upcoming changes in the camp. It wasn't just the 41 Earth-Digging Realm people brought by Yuan Dao. All Earth-Digging Realm people from Great Xia, including Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and Yuan Cheng, gathered around the fire. However, matters must be discussed one by one. Regarding whether the first wooden hut should be rebuilt, everyone deliberated for a while and soon reached a conclusion. Leader, I think the previous large hut still needs to be rebuilt. The few casualties during this cold beast tide demonstrate the critical role the large hut played. In the face of similar large-scale invasions in the future, whether from cold beasts, deceitful monsters, or even humans, we indeed need somewhere to quickly gather everyone and offer some defense. Xia Chuan spoke first, and Yuan Cheng and others nodded in agreement. Mu Dong from the crowd also spoke up. During this cold beast assault, I discovered many problems with the previous wooden hut. With some improvements, its defensive capability will be much stronger than before. Moreover, as Lord Xia Chuan mentioned, the iron ore from the camp might overflow in the future. If enough iron can be provided, I am confident to lead people in building a main structure with 10 times the previous defensive capacity. Upon hearing this, Xia Hong's eyes lit up. This figure of 10 times stronger was clearly a result of Mu Dong's careful consideration. He took out a wooden board, already sketching the outline of a gigantic building using coal stone, with many thickened key parts presumably to be made of iron. According to my plan, the new wooden hut will be the same size as the original, with the internal facilities remaining the same. It would require about 800,000 jin of iron ore. If the entire camp cooperates, the construction period can be controlled within 2 months. Mu Dong glanced at Yuan Dao and others after saying this. Hearing the construction period being within 2 months, Xia Hong raised his eyebrows and glanced around at the people inside the wooden hut, nodding slightly. The previous wooden hut construction took a total of 7 months. The new building design is evidently more complex than before, with tens of times more iron used, but that's because there are more people now. That last glance from Mu Dong obviously included them in the calculation, and Yuan Dao wasn't foolish. He immediately cupped his fist towards Xia Hong and said, Leader, we have a total of 3544 people here, with 6 Earth-Digging Realm maxed at reshaping skin level, 36 Earth-Digging Realm, 982 Logging Realm, and among the remaining 2520 people, 1480 are under 15 years old. Chapter 317, Chapter 170, Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 2. Dusk. As expected of a giant camp, the number of people in the logging realm here is indeed many. Considering the previous severe scarcity of cold beast resources at the Mirror Immortal camp, having so many people in the logging realm proves their strength. Xia and the others were amazed in their hearts, and naturally, their expressions became more excited. After all, the personnel Yuan Dao reported will all become part of Great Xia in the future. With so many people, the construction period can be shortened. I estimate about a month and a half should suffice. Yu Dong didn't expect there to be so many in the logging realm of the Mirror Immortal camp. After some quick calculations, he excitedly stated that the construction period could be reduced. There's no need to rush. The camp won't have any issues for a while, so we can take it slow. Let's set the matter of the wooden house reconstruction for now. After finishing the topic of wooden houses, Xia Hong looked at Yuan Dao and asked, I see the Mirror Immortal camp uses a segregated living approach. How exactly did you construct and allocate the houses? Upon hearing this, Xia and others immediately became interested, looking at Yuan Dao. They had seen the living conditions of the Mirror Immortal camp. Centered around He Yuanhun's bamboo building, there were 4 rows on each side, with 5 wooden houses in each row, totaling 40 wooden houses. Those wooden houses all had 2 stories, and from their size, accommodating 500 to 600 people was no problem. Previously, over 12,000 people should have lived there in the Mirror Immortal camp. In terms of activity space and the supply of coal and iron resources, the living conditions at the Mirror Immortal camp were certainly better than those of Great Xia. Xia Hong's inquiry was, of course, to plan ahead for the camp's future segregation based on how others have done it. Yuan Dao, being a smart person, naturally understood Xia Hong's intention. After pondering for a moment, he slowly spoke. We previously divided the residential areas according to the hunting team. The previous camp had 3 levels of hunting teams, with 1 advanced, 3 intermediate, and 10 low-level teams. Each hunting team had at least 20 members. These 14 hunting teams were the core strength of the camp. We split the remaining over 10,000 people into 14 parts based on them, with each part having 2 wooden houses for free living, and the specific accommodation rights were decided by the team leader. Seeing Xia Hong's still curious expression, Yuan Dao immediately got the hint and continued. No matter where we gathered, mined, or hunted outside, the initial resources we obtained were first submitted to the camp and then distributed uniformly below. Ordinary people were spread across the 14 hunting teams, with the top personnel only needing to allocate resources and not manage specific affairs below. The most critical aspect of the entire camp was the 14 hunting teams. The top leaders, He Yuanhun and Yuan Hu, only needed to oversee the hunting teams. This rough management style likely suited most camps in the Ice Abyss world. After all, for the vast majority of camps, those below the logging realm served no actual purpose. The situation at the Mirror Immortal camp was more unique due to their shortage of cold beast resources. As a result, ordinary people were not only useless, but would also diminish the training resources for the logging realm and earth-digging realm. Adopting such a rough management style could be seen as a forced choice. Xia Hong pondered quietly for a moment, then signaled Xia with his eyes. Xia immediately understood and stepped forward to face Yuan Dao and the others, slowly speaking. All of you who have just arrived at Great Xia are not yet familiar with the operating mechanism of our Great Xia camp. I will give you a brief introduction here, and since we are all family now, feel free to voice any opinions. Yuan Dao, Han Guang, Han Tian, and the earth-digging realm members he brought with him immediately paid full attention, all ears and focused. After all, this was directly related to their own and their families' future lives. Currently, the operation of Great Xia revolves around 3 main rules. The first rule targets members who have not yet broken through to the logging realm. Children under 6 receive a monthly allocation of 5 pounds of cold beast meat. Those over 6 years old, as long as they haven't broken through to the logging realm, are considered reserves. Based on a basic strength of over 1,000 pounds and over 3,000 pounds, they are categorized into 2 levels, with a daily allocation of 1 to 2 pounds of cold beast meat. Hearing this first rule, Yuan Dao and others were taken aback. They looked up at Xia, thinking he might have misspoken. Realizing that Xia showed no signs of error and that what he said was indeed true, everyone, including Yuan Dao, was visibly shaken. As long as you haven't broken through to the logging realm, you can receive cold beast meat for free. Children under 6 who can't eat cold beast meat also get it. Xia Chuan, sir, is what you're saying true? Yes. Yuan Dao, Han Guang, and the other 5 had the same reaction. And as for the remaining 36 earth-digging realm of the Mirror Immortal camp, say no more. They couldn't help but speak up directly, verifying the truth with Xia Chuan. Zhu Ling, standing behind Yuan Dao, couldn't resist asking as well. Having started the reshaping skin process, Zhu Ling's strength surpassed Xia Chuan's, and the term sir was added after some hesitation. Absolutely true. Xia Chuan answered everyone with a smile, not at all surprised by Yuan Dao and the others' reactions. Since learning about the scarcity of cold beast meat at the Mirror Immortal camp, he had anticipated this scene unfolding before him. Chapter 318, Chapter 170, Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 3. Having finished discussing the first point, Xia Chuan began to talk about the second one. The second point targets members above the logging realm. Actually, it refers to the contribution value system that the camp has implemented for a long time. After running for such a long time, the contribution value system has already become deeply ingrained in the hearts of everyone in Great Xia, and everyone is accustomed to it. However, for Yuan Dao and his group, it was an extremely novel concept. Submitting all personally obtained resources to the camp was something they were not unfamiliar with. Even in the Mirror Immortal camp, it was done this way before. The difference is that, in Great Xia, according to the resources submitted, they can obtain personal contribution values. These contribution values can be used to buy cold beast meat, wooden products, beast skin products, clothes, ironware, weapons, or even first go to the camp supply station to exchange for coal stone, iron ore, or other raw materials, and then find the craftsman workshop to custom order the materials they want. Upon hearing this, the eyes of the people from Mirror Immortal camp lit up. And when Xia Chuan roughly mentioned the ways to earn contribution values and the exchange prices for cold beast meat, their breathing became heavy. Each low-level cold beast is valued at 200 to 400 contribution points. Intermediate ones start at a minimum of 4,000 points. And the price for cold beast meat is 1 contribution point for 2 pounds. The 42 people from Mirror Immortal present here were all in the earth-digging realm. For them, hunting low-level cold beasts would be no problem. With sufficient personnel, even hunting intermediate cold beasts wouldn't be too difficult for Yuan Dao. Upon hearing this, Yuan Dao even felt it was a little outrageous. He looked at Xia Chuan with wide eyes, finding it incredible. A low-level cold beast yields meat weighing over 1,000 pounds, and the contribution points given can at most be exchanged for 800 pounds, with the camp only taking 1/5, leaving 4/5 for the individual. Compared to some camps he knew, this was already quite absurd. For intermediate cold beasts, take Snow Mane for example, the meat yield is around 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. According to the contribution points given by Great Xia and exchanging for cold beast meat, the camp not only didn't withhold a single pound, but it also needed to pay out double. What kind of operation is this? If it goes on like this, can Great Xia be maintained? However, soon enough, Xia Chuan's next words helped resolve his confusion. The reason why the price of cold beast meat is low can be considered a welfare that the leaders and camp provide for everyone. This kind of material, which can enhance strength, only becomes truly effective when it turns into strength in your hands. Otherwise, it is useless even if left on hand in abundance. Of course, cold beast meat is just the price of one kind of material. The camp supply station has many other items, all with different prices that you can learn more about later. I won't go into detail today. After finishing this part, Xia Chuan paused for a moment and then continued. Oh, I forgot to mention, all kinds of materials you exchange with contribution values, be it coal, iron, beast skin, wooden products, special materials, or even finished weapons once exchanged, are privately owned by you and have nothing to do with the camp. You can do whatever you want with them. Upon hearing this sentence, the emotions of the people from Mirror Immortal camp immediately surged to a high point. Yuan Dao and Han Guang couldn't help but directly stand up. Everything exchanged with contribution values belongs to the individual. Once in hand, it has no relation to the camp. They can do whatever they wish. These 3 sentences kept echoing in their minds. Their pupils were filled with shock. Sitting above, Xia Hong watched the changes in the expressions of Yuan Dao and the others, having some suspicions in his heart. Compared to people from Great Xia, Yuan Dao and his group have had some exposure to the camps of Flimsy Plain, which means they understand the outside world more than the people of Great Xia. It shouldn't be surprising if private ownership in the camps around Flimsy Plain is a rare thing. Otherwise, Yuan Dao and the others wouldn't have such a big reaction. Upon closer thought, it isn't strange. Private ownership can only emerge in situations of resource surplus. Weak camps do not have the privilege to implement private ownership as resources are inherently limited, and everything must prioritize collective interests. Otherwise, they cannot ensure the overall survival of the camp. The main reason Great Xia can introduce private ownership early is due to the small population, and secondly, because of Xia Hong's presence, the camp obtained resources that far exceeded its current scale. On the western side of Twin Dragon Mountain, the camp's strength seems generally weaker. The so-called Longyu Alliance consists of 12 camps in total. If Hive Camp, which is comparable to Mirror Immortal, could join, it proves the strength of the other 11 camps can't be much stronger. This private ownership system seems to have much potential for development. In the future, it might even become a tool for recruiting personnel from other camps. Xia Hong silently pondered, while on the other side Xia Chuan continued. He was going to discuss the third point, which was the current management structure of the camp. Currently, the camp has 6 departments, and everyone who breaks through to the logging realm must join these 6 departments without exception. The 6 departments are the hunting team, logging team, collection team, craftsman workshop, camp supply station, and the recently established pioneer department. There is only one hunting team, consisting of 15 people. Joining requires the leader's appointment. The craftsman workshop requires Mu Dong's recognition of craftsmanship talents. The camp supply station doesn't need that many personnel on a daily basis. Therefore, in general, you are free to choose from the logging team, collection team, and pioneer department, the 3 departments. The names of the 6 departments were so concise that Yuan Dao and the others didn't even need to ask. Just upon hearing, they knew what these departments did. At this moment, Yuan Dao showed an expression of admiration on his face. He first looked at Xia Chuan, then shifted his gaze to Xia Hong. It's not that these 6 departments are exceptional in any way. As the saying goes, though the sparrow is small, it has all the organs. With just over 1,000 people in Great Xia, these 6 departments already cover almost every aspect needed for camp management. With the contribution value system in place, even as the population expands, it would only need continual improvements based on these 6 departments. Alright, the most important aspects of Great Xia's current operational mechanism are these 3 points. You should have all heard them clearly. Is there anything you want to ask? After signaling Xia Chuan to sit down, Xia Hong directly asked Yuan Dao and the others. They exchanged glances for a moment, and in the end, Yuan Dao stood out, shook his head, and replied, "Leader, you worry too much. We are people without a home. Being able to join Great Xia is our great fortune. We never dreamed of receiving such good treatment. Besides thanking the leader, we have nothing else to say." After speaking, he directly bowed his head respectfully to Xia Hong. Han Guang, Han Tian, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, Zhu Yuan, the 5 of them at the peak of the earth-digging realm, along with another 36 at the earth-digging realm, all stood up and made a respectful bow to Xia Hong. Xia Hong's eyes showed a hint of satisfaction as he raised his hand in a gesture to Yuan Dao and the others to sit down. Then he turned his head to scan everyone in the room and began to speak slowly. The 6 camp institutions will henceforth uniformly be called ministries: camp supply, hunting, logging, collection, craftsmanship, and pioneer ministries. There will be one director for each to take charge. Reporting directly to me will suffice. As Xia Hong's words fell, everyone around the stove became quiet. Especially Cheng Feng, Bai Dongying, and Mu Dong, the leaders of these 3 departments, who immediately appeared tense. Xia Chuan also noticed something, his expression subtly changing. Seeing the expressions of everyone, Xia Hong slightly raised his eyebrows and continued to speak. With the population quadrupling at once, the camp's 6 departments also need some adjustments, starting first from the hunting team. As soon as he said this, besides Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, Yue Feng, and the others from the 16-member hunting team instantly tensed up. Chapter 319, Chapter 171, Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 2. The importance of the hunting team is self-evident. One could say that it is currently the most important of the 6 departments of Great Xia. Even the camp supply department, which controls all finances and goods, cannot compare to the status of the hunting team. The reason is simple. Firstly, it represents the strongest armed force of the camp itself. Secondly, beast meat and beast blood are essential supplies needed by everyone and the driving force for the camp's development. And the hunting team, which produces these 2 resources, naturally sees its status rise accordingly. Lastly, there is the emphasis from the leader, Xia Hong. For the people of the camp, it is already a great honor to go out and hunt cold beasts with Xia Hong, not to mention receiving a massive amount of contribution values. For many reasons combined, the 15 members of the hunting team, including Xia Chuan, naturally became tense when they heard Xia Hong say the first change would be to the hunting team. Not only the hunting team members, but also the over 50 people from Great Xia who recently broke through to the earth-digging realm felt the same. Consciously or unconsciously, they turned to look at Yuan Dao and the other 40 or so people, feeling some pressure in their hearts. I have decided to disband the previous hunting team. From now on, all personnel who have broken through to the earth-digging realm in the camp must register with the hunting department. The specific hunting activities will be self-organized and managed by the members under the hunting department. I will no longer interfere with any cold beast hunting activities unless under special circumstances. Understand? When they heard Xia Hong's words, most people were confused. Only a few like Yuan Dao, Han Guang, Xia Chuan and Luo Yuan bowed their heads in thought, and their eyes soon lit up. Self-organized hunting, then, leader. Does everyone in the earth-digging realm have the qualification to form a hunting team? Leader, may I ask, is there a hierarchy among the hunting teams? Is there a strict rule for the distribution of contribution value for hunting cold beasts? The member changes and the frequency of going out to hunt cold beasts, are they self-decided or decided by the hunting department? Xia Hong did not answer any of the questions everyone raised, only kept nodding his head. After everyone finished asking, he looked up and smiled, saying, "The questions you have raised are all good, but they are not my responsibility. I am only proposing the idea of restructuring the hunting department. The specific rules and details will be developed by the new director of the hunting department, Yuan Dao." Upon hearing this, everyone's expression suddenly froze. The original members of the De Xia hunting team, like Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, and Yue Feng, all had expressions of disbelief as they looked at Xia Hong. A few looked hesitant, about to speak but refrained. In contrast to the people of Great Xia, the expressions of the 41 earth-digging realm individuals from the Mirror Immortal camp were very excited. They all knew very well that no matter which camp, hunting was of utmost importance. If Yuan Dao could become this director of the hunting department, it would certainly benefit them in the future. Unlike the other people's shocked or happy expressions, Yuan Dao himself appeared quite calm. He simply glanced at everyone around him and spoke in a deep voice. "Leader, I have just arrived, and I'm afraid I'm not yet capable of taking on the position of director of the hunting department. Perhaps someone else would be better suited." No need to decline. The person who oversees the specialized hunting of cold beasts in the hunting department should prioritize martial prowess. You have the ability to lead a team to hunt intermediate cold beasts. Among these over 100 people, there is no one stronger than you. You must take up this role today. Xia Hong's gaze carried a hint of inquiry as he surveyed everyone from Great Xia, pausing intentionally on Luo Yuan and Yuan Cheng. If he guessed correctly, the 2 most interested in the position of hunting department director would be these 2 people. As expected, the others only showed slight discontent, while these 2 slightly lowered their heads after seeing Xia Hong's gaze. However, Yuan Dao, I also have a word to say beforehand. I am only responsible for providing the general direction for the hunting department. The detailed operational rules need to be discussed and formulated by you and your team, and how to manage the subordinate hunting teams is also your business. Since the hunting department is specialized in hunting, I have only one requirement for you. In the future, there must be no issues with the supply of any resources related to cold beasts in the camp. Otherwise, I will hold you accountable. Understood? All resources related to cold beasts, from beast meat to special materials like rodents, jiao tendon, and tang jiao poison sac, to smaller items like beast skin and bones. Of course, the most challenging is the beast blood. This is no easy task. According to the current price of cold beast meat set by the camp, It's basically not difficult to exchange for those above the logging realm, let alone those in the earth-digging realm. What's more is that even those who haven't broken through to the logging realm have fixed free quotas every month, including children under 6 years old, who each get £5 a month. One must know that the camp's current total population has already surpassed more than 4,000. In this way, it won't be easy to achieve the request Xia Hong has just proposed. Yuan Dao is a smart person and can naturally hear the seriousness in Xia Hong's tone. After bowing his head in thought for a moment, he raised his head to meet Xia Hong's gaze, clasped his hands, and bent over in a bow, speaking in a solemn tone. Since the leader trusts me, I will do my utmost. If I truly cannot meet the leader's requirements, feel free to remove me from the position of director. Good. Chapter 320. Chapter 171. Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 2, /2. Xia Hong made a decisive call and then said, "From today onwards, I will no longer intervene in the matters of the hunting department. If there are special situations that require me to personally go hunting, I will only select one hunting team to accompany me. It will depend on your abilities then." Upon hearing this, everyone's eyes lit up. They had all witnessed Xia Hong's prowess displayed at the Mirror Immortal camp. The leader now probably doesn't need us to hunt intermediate cold beasts. If he goes out personally, it's most likely for advanced cold beasts. Intermediate cold beasts give at least 4,000 contribution points. For advanced ones, how much would that be, if we could go out with the leader? The leader doesn't participate in the distribution of contribution points. As long as you can accompany him, you'll definitely earn a lot of contribution points. We must form a hunting team, and we need to perform well enough to gain the leader's approval. The minds of the great Xia people had already started to become active, especially Luo Yuan and Yuan Cheng, who even began searching for suitable team members among the crowd. However, the group from Mirror Immortal, like Han Guang and Han Tian in the earth-digging realm, didn't react as strongly. After all, they had just arrived and weren't aware of the immense benefits of going hunting with Xia Hong. Now that the matters of the hunting department are settled, it's time for the camp supply department and craftsman department. Currently, Mu Dong will temporarily continue as the director of the craftsman department. For the camp supply department, Xia Chuan will select a suitable candidate for the position. Cheng Feng and Bai Dongying, with your rich experience, you two will continue as directors of the collection and logging departments. Lastly, we have the pioneer department. When it came to the pioneer department, Xia Hong paused for a moment and signaled Xia Chuan with his eyes. Xia Chuan nodded gently, took out a beast skin scroll from behind, slowly unfurled it, and hung it above the stove, right in front of everyone. The 100 or so people gathered around the stove, upon seeing the contents of the scroll, had a glimmer of excitement in their eyes, and their spirits lifted. On the scroll was a map radiating from east to west with the valley at its center. Although the map had clear markings of terrain and distances, to ensure everyone could see clearly, Xia Hong stood up and began explaining the map to everyone. With the valley at the center, heading 5 kilometers west to Redwood Ridge, 6 kilometers south bordering Xing River, north covering the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest up to the basin, roughly 20 kilometers. This whole area, about 300 square kilometers, currently constitutes the territory of our Great Xia. On the map, Xia Hong had outlined a long strip of land oriented north-south, with a large chunk extending eastward at the top. When everyone saw the marked Great Xia in the middle of this territory, a strange sparkle appeared on their faces, and their expressions gradually became excited. The original Great Xia people were especially moved, remembering how just a year ago they were huddled at the dirt slope, living in constant precariousness. This past year felt like a dream. Unbeknownst to all, Great Xia had come to possess such a vast territory. Luo Yuan, Huangyang Honggang, and others who joined later felt the same. Let alone with their current cultivation in the earth-digging realm, weapons, cold beast meat, clothes, beast skin products, wood products, coal stone, iron ore. Everything Great Xia Camp possesses today was unimaginable for them half a year ago. Square kilometers, a territory solely belonging to Great Xia, was far beyond their comprehension. Not to mention small camps like Huangzhou, Dechuan, and Dashi. Even Redwood Ridge's strongest Rojal camp's territory was less than 1/10 of Great Xia's today. Yuan Dao and the 42 others appeared equally dazed. The Mirror Immortal camp also had its sphere of influence, but they had never seen it so intuitively through a map, to examine the land their camp controlled. Moreover, the impact of 300 square kilometers was just as significant for them. The Mirror Immortal camp's previous area of influence, even if including the entire Arrow Bamboo Forest, did not reach even half of Great Xia's current size. No wonder everyone reacted so strongly. Even Xia Hong, looking at the territory he had personally mapped out for Great Xia, couldn't help but feel a surge of emotions. For others, the concept of a boundary was at most still an impression. But he had truly been to these places. Every inch of land he drew was a place he had personally visited. The southern Xing River, northern basin, eastern Twin Dragon Mountain walls, and the 4-kilometer depth of western Redwood Ridge, all of today's Great Xia's territory, were measured by him personally. No one could feel the territory more deeply than he did. Speaking of the Pioneer Department, before mentioning the territory. Firstly, it is to give you all a concept of Great Xia's current realm. Secondly, to assign tasks to the Pioneer Department. At this point, Xia Hong paused, pointed to the northern and western sides of Great Xia's territory on the map, and said, "The western side of the existing territory is deep into Redwood Ridge. Expanding that way relies on exploration by me and the hunting department. The northwest of the northern basin is Pinksy Plain. The closest hive camp is about as strong as us, but they have the Long Yu Alliance backing them, so until we make contact, expanding north is not advisable either. The east is blocked by Twin Dragon Mountain, which we won't discuss as the situation on the mountain is more complex and unsuitable for our expansion. Therefore," Xia Hong paused his speech, pointed to the southern part of the map and continued, "The south is currently the best direction for us to expand." Chapter 321, Chapter 171, Camp Integration, Territory Rapid Expansion, Part 2/3. On the map, the two landmarks, Xing River and Xing Valley Pass, have already been clearly marked. As everyone's eyes gathered on these two locations, Xia Hong began to continue his speech. The width of the Xing River is about 5 li. On the north side along the shore, which is our side, there is an upward-sloping hill stretching from west to east. The slope is dense with tall trees and connects to the mountain wall. I've been to this area before. If nothing unexpected, this large area should have quite a few human camps. Xia Hong pinched a piece of coal stone and outlined the slope upward along the mountain wall from the north shore of Xing River all the way east. If I'm not mistaken, heading east from here should connect to the external world on the eastern side of Twin Dragon Mountain. If Yuanhun wasn't lying to us, this stretch should be at least 200 kilometers. North shore of the Xing River, over 200 kilometers, connected to the outside. For a moment, everyone gathered around the stove froze their gaze. The curiosity for the unknown and the desire for exploration are inherent in human nature. Even though the ice abyss world is perilous, it still cannot extinguish this nature. Whether it's the people of Great Xia or Yuan Dao and others, upon hearing this information from Xia Hong for the first time, their eyes invariably lit up with keen interest. The Pioneer Department, established some time ago, currently focuses on pioneering this large area north of the Xing River. Of course, it's not to have you explore over 200 kilometers all at once. Proceed and expand eastward gradually according to your abilities. Considering the vast range of over 200 kilometers, it's risky even for Xia Hong to venture out personally, so quick exploration is out of the question. The Pioneer Department was established half a month ago, but it was delayed for a long time due to He Yuanhun's incident. I remember selecting 30 people before. Xia Hong paused at this point and looked over at the people from Great Xia. From the 60 to 70 people, a large group soon stepped forward one after another. Suen Shiping, Liu Yuan, Li Yunkan, Hong Mu. Xia Hong immediately recognized the familiar faces leading the group. Counting the total number standing out, he found exactly 30, and Xia Hong slightly nodded, understanding in his heart. Half a month ago, when there was a plan to form the Pioneer Department, there weren't many in the earth-digging realm, so selections had to be made from the logging realm, using the same selection process as the first batch of the hunting team, battling against wooden mannequins. Those chosen were already outstanding in the logging realm, and it was reasonable for them to be the first to break through during the subsequent earth-digging realm boom. Which is quite convenient, saving a lot of trouble. Pioneering is no less dangerous than hunting. Previously, because there weren't enough earth-digging realm members in the camp, selections were made from the logging realm out of necessity. Now that we have enough people, it's time to set a rule. Anyone aspiring to join the pioneer department must have at least earth-digging realm cultivation, just like the hunting department. Everyone had no objections to this, but upon noticing Xia Hong's gaze scanning the crowd after saying this, the tension among them heightened. As with the other departments, once the general plan for the pioneer department is outlined, the next step is naming the director. Clearly, Xia Hong was looking for candidates to assume the position of director. After searching for a while, Xia Hong's gaze finally landed behind Yuan Dao. Han Guang, Han Tian, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, and Zhu Yuan, feeling Xia Hong's gaze upon them, couldn't help but puff out their chests. As Xia Hong just mentioned, the dangers of pioneering are no less than those of hunting. As such, the strength of a director candidate is undoubtedly a crucial factor. In terms of strength, these 5 were evidently the most suitable candidates. However, honestly, picking one from these 5 might stir objections among Xia Chuan and the others on the left. Currently, although Great Xia is nominally the 6 ministries, in terms of strength, the hunting department and pioneer department clearly surpass the other 4 ministries. Yuan Dao already heads one hunting department, and if someone from the newly integrated Mirror Immortal camp takes charge of the pioneer department too, Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and others would certainly have objections. Noticing the hesitant expressions on Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, and others, Xia Hong thought for a moment, swallowing the impending appointment. Here's what we'll do: no direct appointment. I don't have a suitable candidate for now. The primary goal of the pioneer department is to increase the camp's population. For 1 month, Xia Chuan will temporarily take charge. After 1 month, whoever brings more people to the camp will earn the position of pioneer department director. What do you think? I agree, the leader's suggestion is sound. Pioneering originally aims to increase the camp's population. While strength is important, the skill of winning people's hearts is equally vital. Let's compare for a month, and whoever is more suitable shall assume the director's role. As soon as Xia Hong's words dropped, the first person to voice agreement was surprisingly Yuan Dao. Nobody had anticipated this, causing all the earth-digging realm members to turn their heads. Han Guang and the other 5, initially showing a hint of discontent upon hearing Xia Hong's proposed competition, expressed even more bewilderment when Yuan Dao spoke up. Even the people from Great Xia were surprised, as anyone with sharp eyes could see that Xia Hong avoided direct appointment due to the pressure from them, making it hard to comprehend why Yuan Dao would agree. I also agree. Only through comparison can we determine who is more fitting. Only Xia Chuan also opened up to support Xia Hong's proposal, then looked at Yuan Dao with a gleam of admiration in his eyes. Foresight not bad. Xia Hong didn't show much reaction, only complimenting Yuan Dao internally before slowly speaking again. After addressing the affairs of the 6 ministries, I have another personnel announcement regarding the camp today. The group from Great Xia immediately focused their attention on Xia Chuan. Xia Chuan's position in the camp's supply department had already been revoked, and the pioneer department leadership is only temporary for a month, leaving him without a position currently. Recognizing their attention, Yuan Dao and others realized a position was about to be granted to Xia Chuan, sparking their curiosity. Already informed of Xia Chuan's relation to Xia Hong, they naturally wondered what position the leader Xia Hong would assign to his brother. Henceforth, the camp will establish a minister position to handle all internal and external affairs of the 6 ministries in my stead. In my absence, the minister will be my representative, and everyone must obey his commands. Xia Hong paused, then clearly announced. The position of minister will be held by Xia Chuan. Upon this final appointment, the faces of the group from Great Xia on the left instantly filled with joy, looking at Xia Chuan with respect and congratulations. Evidently, they were extremely satisfied and supportive of this appointment. Contrastingly, Yuan Dao and others on the right showed a different reaction. Particularly Han Guang, Han Tian, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, and Zhu Yuan, who were recently bypassed for the pioneer department director role, displayed a distinct trace of discontent on their faces. Chapter 322, Chapter 172, the competition concludes with continuous surprises. The newly established 6 ministries of Great Xia, when it comes to real change, it's actually just the pioneering and hunting departments. The other 4 merely had their suffixes changed. Apart from the replacement of the director for the camp's supply department, the directors for the logging, gathering, and craftsman departments remain the same, with virtually no changes. After explaining the changes to the 6 ministries, Xia Hong left the remaining matters entirely to Xia Chuan, the new minister. First, build temporary accommodations, prepare for rebuilding the wooden buildings at the station, inventory the camp's various supplies, restore the supply of wartime materials, encourage the camp's reserves and children to re-engage in cultivation. Xia Chuan methodically organized the camp's current tasks. On the other side, Yuan Dao also led a group to begin formulating the specific regulations and operational details for the hunting department. The day quickly passed, and the wooden house that had been quiet for a night began to bustle again. The over 3,000 people newly arrived at the Mirror Immortal camp were not yet accustomed to the new environment and were mostly still in a daze. The people of Great Xia were different. Almost everyone stepped out of the wooden house and engaged in various urgent reconstruction tasks. The advantage of having more people was immediately apparent. After just half a night, another 50-meter-wide square wooden shed was erected. The people who had been pre-assigned suddenly moved from the old building into the new one, and the crowd at the station felt much more spacious. "Sir, building one more of these temporary wooden houses should suffice. It's only to cope for a period of time." At the front of the valley, Mu Dong found Xia Chuan and reported the completion of the temporary wooden house construction, continuing to speak. "The work on rebuilding the wooden buildings has already begun, with over half of the earth-digging realm engaged in mining in the cave, and another part forging iron materials. A large number from the logging realm have started going out. Using the original ground stakes, barring any accidents, we can start work by tomorrow night. With so many participating, the speed will be rapid. Such a number of people, it's not just a matter of having more manpower." Xia Chuan surveyed the interior of the valley, looking at the comings and goings, the crowd far exceeding the number before. His expression was quite invigorated. 110 in the earth-digging realm, over 1,500 in the logging realm, over 3,000 others. As long as the cold beast meat is sufficient, more people will continue to break through. I estimate we won't even need a month and a half. Speed up. It's uncomfortable for everyone to remain crammed in the 2 wooden sheds. "Yes," Mu Dong responded, and then turned to attend to his duties. Shi Ping happened to come by and bowed to Xia Chuan, saying, "Sir, Yuan Dao and others with cultivation above the logging realm have all been registered and recorded. Currently, the logging realm in the camp totals 1,581 individuals, with this batch adding 982 to the original 599. 1581. Anyone who breaks through to the logging realm must be incorporated into the contribution value system, naturally including the people from the Mirror Immortal camp." Hearing 1581, Xia Chuan nodded slightly. The number met his expectations. The over 900 new arrivals in the logging realm have been distributed into camp supply, logging, gathering, and craftsman departments, with the most going to the logging and gathering departments, only a small number to the craftsman and camp supply departments. "By the way, is the status of the camp supply department's resources all accounted for?" Shi Ping frowned slightly, looking solemn as he said, "The damage to materials like beast skin, Teng Jiao tendon, venom sacs, frost wolf bone, and golden healing powder is not severe, but we're short on beast meat. Originally, there was a reserve of 160,000 jin, but after counting, only less than 30,000 jin remains." Upon hearing this, Xia Chuan's expression immediately grew serious. The cold beast tide attack this time resulted in few casualties, but caused significant property loss. After the cold beasts broke down the wooden house, the cold beast meat and various goods in the camp supply warehouse on the 2nd floor were thoroughly ransacked. Cold beasts also eat their own kind, so the cold beast meat became their primary target to ravage. Cold beast meat is currently the camp's most crucial consumable resource. Losing 130,000 jin all at once has a considerable impact. 30,000 jin, based on the current camp population, 1581 in the logging realm, 110 in the earth-digging realm, the remaining 3,000, more than 2/3 in reserves, the rest with a monthly allocation of 5 jin for those under 6 years old. Even if they exchange only for cultivation needs, the daily consumption of cold beast meat is at least over 10,000 jin. After roughly calculating, Shi Ping continued, "I've already informed everyone, given the current tight supply of cold beast meat, Each person can only exchange based on personal needs, not more. Even so, the stock decreased by over 4,000 jin after one night. It sounds like it's only over 4,000, but that's because Yuan Dao and others who newly joined are still in the process of registering and haven't earned contribution points, hence aren't able to exchange yet. This means the over 1,000 original people of Great Xia already consume over 4,000 jin of beast meat daily. Once the remaining 3,000 start exchanging, consumption will immediately soar. Have these circumstances been communicated to Yuan Dao? Xi Ping nodded immediately, answering, "As soon as the cold beast meat stock counts were done, I went to explain the situation to Lord Yu Wen. When I went, he and Hong Guang were discussing the specifics for the hunting department and should have results soon." Only then did Xia Chuan's expression relax a bit. Given the severe shortfall of cold beast meat, the work of the hunting department needs to resume quickly. My brother has already said he won't interfere with the camp's hunting operations except under special circumstances, so future cold beast meat procurement will fully rely on these people below. Chapter 323. Chapter 172. The match ends. Continuous surprises /2. Why, is there something you want to tell me? Seeing Xi Ping's face full of hesitation, Xia Chuan's heart stirred slightly, and he asked curiously. Xi Ping hesitated for a moment, then spoke up with a hint of dissatisfaction. "My lord, Hong Guang, Hong Tian, and the other three seem to have strong opinions about your minister position, and also about the competition for the Pioneer Department Director position. From the looks of it, they feel the leader is biased." Upon hearing this, Xia Chuan's expression slightly lifted. "Did you hear this firsthand?" "Yes, I happened to overhear it while visiting Yuan Dao at night." "Did Yuan Dao say anything?" The displeased look on Xi Ping's face eased somewhat, and he shook his head. Among them, Yuan Dao is the only decent one. He stopped them from continuing. Hearing that Yuan Dao had stopped Hong Guang and the others, Xia Chuan's expression cleared slightly, and he said, "That's enough after all. They are more than 3,000 people coming in. It's normal for them to be unclear about their status. As long as Yuan Dao understands, with time, their mindset will naturally change." Giving a hunting department director position was already the biggest concession they could make. Although there are more than 3,000 people at the Mirror Immortal camp, they were on the losing side, and it's already quite good to give them a normal status as a matter of course. This is also because the Great Xia currently indeed lacks people. Otherwise, given the previous conflicts between Mirror Immortal and Great Xia, whether these people could receive normal treatment would be a question. Bear in mind, Yuan Dao and the others have blood of the Xia Ju Dai realm on their hands, and even participated in the siege against elder brother Xia Hong. In my opinion, they're just ungrateful. The leader is generous enough not to hold their past mistakes against them. We haven't forgotten either, and it's only thanks to the understanding of Li Yun and Li Kaiping's widows and descendants that there wasn't a commotion. Otherwise, for the sake of these two families, they should be properly dealt with. These words, don't say them anymore in the future. Xia Chuan frowned, directly interrupting Xi Ping. Given that so many conflicts had occurred previously between the two camps, there are bound to be issues with this sudden merger. Apparently, true integration still needs some time. Xia Chuan shifted the topic. Looking at Xi Ping, he asked, "By the way, do you have any interest in the position of Camp Supply Department Director?" Upon hearing the question, Xi Ping showed a hint of struggle on his face. "In the past, you handled almost all the affairs of the camp supply station, and now your strength is sufficient. The leader asked me to choose a successor, and apart from you, I really can't think of anyone else at the moment." Xia Chuan noticed the struggle on Xi Ping's face and immediately knew what he was hesitating about, so he continued. "Regarding the position of Pioneer Department Director, even ignoring Hong Guang, Hong Tian and their group of 5, you wouldn't be able to compete with Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, Yue Feng, and the others once they express interest. My suggestion is that you honestly take over the position of Camp Supply Department Director, so that in the future, you can also have a place in the decision-making circle of the camp." Xia Chuan's thought process was already quite seasoned. He could clearly see that the reason Xi Ping and people like Luo Yuan pursued the 6 department positions was to enter the decision-making circle of the camp. Xi Ping did an excellent job at the camp supply station, and indeed has talents in that area. Now there is a shortcut to directly become a 6th department director. He has no reason to refuse. The struggle on Xi Ping's face quickly disappeared, and having apparently made a decision in his heart, he bowed solemnly to Xia Chuan and said, "My lord, I have thought it through. I still want to join the pioneer department. Although I'm tempted by the camp's supply department position, to be frank, whether to contribute to the camp or to broaden my horizons for myself, I am more yearning for the outside. I hope my lord can fulfill this wish." Seeing Xi Ping's earnest demeanor, Xia Chuan did not insist any longer and nodded. "All right, then I will look for other candidates." The camp supply department, though tasks are numerous and complex, wields significant power after all, managing the entire camp's resources and almost interfacing with everyone. Many people covet this position. Xi Ping's willingness to give it up voluntarily proved that his yearning for the outside was genuine, and Xia Chuan had nothing more to say but started to think of other candidates in his mind. Yuan Cheng is definitely not suitable, too reckless to handle such meticulous work. Lin Kai, Yue Feng, Qiu Peng, Lu Yang, Su Ning, these five could all be considered. After thinking for a moment, Xia Chuan decided to talk to the five of them separately, to assess them before making a decision. The first year of the Great Xia, March 20th. Yuan Dao gathered with Han Guang and the other four, sitting around a corner of the wooden house. The six people had been discussing for a long time, and although their faces were tired, there was a smile on their faces, clearly satisfying with the result of their discussion. As for the rules and regulations produced by the hunting department, let's start with these for now. Any changes can be addressed later. I will first report to the Lord Minister. The six stood up, ready to find Xia Chuan, and realized that many people were gathered around the stove in the wooden house, with a hubbub coming from within, making it very lively. There was a hint of curiosity on the faces of the six, so they squeezed in directly. After entering, they found Xia Chuan standing above, holding a wooden board facing the crowd, speaking loudly. "The wood list has been read, now comes the coal mine list. First place, Yuan Cheng, 1780 points, rewarded with 2,000 contribution value. Second place, Yue Feng, 1650 points, rewarded with 1,900 contribution value. Third place, Han Gang, 1590 points, rewarded with 1,800 contribution value. Fourth place. What is this?" The six looked on curiously, and Han Guang directly grabbed a young man nearby. Chapter 324, Chapter 172, The Competition's Ends, Surprises Galore /3. "Who the hell is dragging me? Ah, Dad's second uncle, Brother Dao." The young man reacted harshly at first, almost cursing, but when he saw it was Han Guang pulling him, he was startled and quickly greeted him. The young man's name was Hong Yu, the eldest son of Han Guang, aged 15, 2 years younger than Yuan Dao, and despite his age, he had broken through the logging realm more than a year ago. "Xiao Yu, what's going on?" Yuan Dao had a good relationship with him, as Hong Yu had followed him around since he was young, so he asked directly. "I heard there was a mining contest organized by Great Xia a while ago, and today is the day they announced the results. They just announced the rankings for the wood list. The top 30 get prizes, with 800 contribution value for the first place and 300 for the 30th. Coal has 5 places, with 2,000 for first and 1,500 for fifth. They're announcing the iron ore list now. Listen. Now announcing the iron ore list. First place, Luo Yuan, 3290 points, rewarded with 2,000 contribution value. Second place, Xia Chuan, 3210 points, rewarded with 1,900 contribution value. Third place, Zhao Long, 3,100 points, rewarded with 1,800 contribution value. Sure enough, upon listening closely, Yuan Dao confirmed it was Xia Chuan announcing the iron ore list. 1 point can be exchanged for 2 pounds of cold beast meat. To award 2,000 contribution points all at once, that's quite generous. What's the deal with these extraction points? Upon hearing his father's inquiry, Hong Yu quickly shared what he knew. "I just asked around. Great Xia calculates resources like wood, coal, and iron differently from us. They consider 1,000 pounds of wood as 1 point, 20 pounds of coal stone as 1 point, and 10 pounds of iron ore as 1 point. The contest started on the 27th of January, supposedly to aid leader Xia Hong's breakthrough. I'm curious, what's the link between resource extraction and the leader's breakthrough?" Yuan Dao's eyes gleamed with insight upon hearing Hong Yu's curious question, recalling when Xia Hong made millions of pounds of coal and iron disappear at the Mirror Immortal camp. Have you noticed how the temperature here at the log cabin is quite unusual? Hong Yu's understanding of the camp was clearly deeper compared to the six of them. Until now, the six had been engrossed in discussing the hunting department. Upon hearing Hong Yu's question, they suddenly realized the anomaly. The cabin, with just a single stove, was surprisingly warm, infinitely more so than outside. Yuan Dao was the first to set his gaze on the central stove, over a meter in diameter. The others followed suit, their eyes filled with curiosity. They'd seen a coal-burning stove before. But could a stove merely a meter in diameter warm an entire 50-meter wide cabin? No, it wasn't just the cabin. The temperature was consistent within at least 100 meters outside the cabin, too. Brother Dao, did you notice? I heard from the people of Great Xia that the stove was a divine item created by leader Xia Hong, and once lit, it can raise the temperature within 100 meters. Meaning, as long as you're within 100 meters of it, there's no need to light a fire to keep warm. I tried it myself, and it's true. Isn't it amazing? Now Yuan Dao's eyes were not just curious but filled with shock. The same went for Han Guang and the 5 others, who were bewildered to discover the seemingly mundane stove possessed such miraculous effects. Moreover, it doesn't just ward off the cold. The stove can deter deceitful monsters. I heard some even broke into the camp previously. And it's not just one item. From what I learned, Great Xia has many extraordinary artifacts. A polishing hammer that can take on any shape. Wooden mannequins that transform into cold beast forms. A green bamboo fence resembling, or perhaps even superior to, our snow bamboo. A marking stone that can detect life signs within a kilometer. The medicine decoction pot that automatically records medicinal materials, generating formulas on its own. Small torches, solidified fire oil. As Hong Yu recounted the wondrous items he learned about, Yuan Dao, along with the 5 others, showed shifting expressions, eventually looking rather incredulous. Could this kid be going crazy from desire? There's another thing I heard about, leader Xia Hong's martial arts training ground. Spending 20 contribution value allows one to train there for a day, doubling the efficiency. Upon hearing about the martial arts training ground, Yuan Dao and the others were left speechless, their faces frozen in astonishment. Pa! Finally, Han Guang couldn't help but slap his son. You fool, where did you hear this from, and you dare to believe it? But it's true, father, brother Dao. At first I thought it was fake, but then I asked several people from Great Xia and they all said it's true. A few even trained there. I'm sure it's real and I'm planning to save up contribution value. Once I train there for a few days, I'm certain I can soon break through to the earth-digging realm. Seeing this, Han Guang raised his hand to strike again, but was stopped by Yuan Dao. Uncle Hong, don't rush. Xiao, you wouldn't be so easily tricked. Though he said this, disbelief was still evident in Yuan Dao's eyes. Increased training efficiency by double. Such an outrageous claim, how was it possible? Maybe not impossible. If the martial arts training ground was as extraordinary as he claimed, then the things Hong Yu mentioned could be just as baffling. Brother Dao, trust me, I saw the torches and solidified fire oil myself. It's unlikely that over 1,000 people from Great Xia conspired to fool me. Besides, I'm not the only one who asked. Zhu Kang and Meng Ao were also inquiring last night. They might know even more than I do. If you don't believe me, ask them. Zhu Kang was Zhu Ling's son, and Meng Ao was Meng Yi's son, both around Hong Yu's age and similarly curious and eager to explore. In truth, Yuan Dao was already 70% convinced. He understood that his childhood companion, Hong Yu, was not one to make baseless claims. If he said such things, there must be some truth behind it. It seems there are many surprises waiting for us to uncover in Great Xia. Yuan Dao spoke softly, a spark of excitement in his eyes. Yuan Dao, how are the preparations for the hunting department going? Coincidentally, having completed the mining contest rewards, Xia Chuan approached Yuan Dao. Chapter 325, Chapter 173, New Regulations of the Hunting Department, Building Upgrade. Lord, this is the hunting department's regulations I've drafted. Please have a look. Yuan Dao took out a beast skin roll from his body and handed it to Xia Chuan. After carefully browsing through the hunting department's regulations already listed above, Xia Chuan's eyes lit up momentarily. Turning to see that the people around had not yet dispersed, he directly handed the beast skin roll back to Yuan Dao and pointed a finger over the top of the furnace. With permission granted, Yuan Dao nodded gently and directly walked up. Everyone, the regulations for the hunting department have been released. I'll first read them out here for everyone. These regulations will also be publicly displayed and continuously improved with everyone's opinions. If you're interested, you can listen first. The matter of the hunting department is arguably the most concerning for everyone in the camp right now. Hearing Yuan Dao's words, those who were just about to disperse immediately gathered around again, with all the earth-digging realm experts crowding to the front, with their ears pricked and expressions focused. First, the first article is about the eligibility criteria for forming a hunting team. To successfully form a hunting team as an individual, you must meet the following 3 conditions. First, your basic strength must exceed 20,000 pounds. Second, you need to recruit at least 4 members. Third, pass the test of hunting 5 different low-level cold beasts. Upon hearing this, all the earth-digging realm experts displayed thoughtful expressions. None of them was foolish, and it wasn't hard to discern Yuan Dao's intentions from these 3 conditions. With more than 20,000 pounds of basic strength and suitable weapons, as long as luck isn't too bad, hunting low-level cold beasts shouldn't be a problem. Recruiting team members is even less of an issue. In simple terms, Yuan Dao means that only those who possess the ability to hunt low-level cold beasts alone are qualified to form hunting teams. There are quite a few in the great Xia's earth-digging realm, whose strength exceeds 20,000. Xia Chuan, Luo Yuan, the Yuan Cheng brothers Zhao Long and Yue Feng, the first 6 to break through to the earth-digging realm, all had already exceeded 20,000 pounds of strength. There are even more over at the Mirror Immortal camp. Not even mentioning Han Guang's group of 5, there are several others below who have surpassed 20,000 pounds. Hearing the 3 conditions, knowing they qualify to form hunting teams, this part of the group showed signs of slight excitement. Next is the second article. Once a hunting team is successfully formed, the frequency of hunts, the distribution of contribution points for prey, changes in internal team members, and other related issues will not be restricted by the camp. The captain will have full authority for management, but hearing that hunting teams have such a high degree of autonomy, everyone's expressions became more excited until Yuan Dao changed his tone. All hunting teams must complete a certain quota indicator each month. Teams that fail to meet these indicators will be directly disbanded, with their captain losing the qualification to form a team for a year, and all team members will be subjected to penalties ranging from 1,000 to 10,000 contribution points. SSS. The crowd gasped upon hearing about the penalty indicators, unable to help but inhale sharply. A one-time penalty of 1,000 to 10,000, what does that mean? The wealthiest in Great Xia, the original 15-member hunting team, have the most contribution points in the camp, yet the highest, Xia Chuan, only has over 10,000 points. The reason Xia Chuan has more contribution points is primarily because he is a loner, while others like Luo Yuan, Zhao Long, and Yue Feng have families to support, requiring frequent use of contribution points, leaving them with only 6,000 to 7,000. Lord Chief, let's talk about the quota. Yes, how many quotas need to be completed each month? With penalties so severe, the quotas shouldn't be too unreasonable. Of course, none of the earth-digging realm members were foolish. Given the terrifying penalty amounts, the corresponding quotas must not be set too high. If everyone couldn't complete them, then these hunting teams would be unsustainable. Yuan Dao nodded and smiled. Thank you for your patience, brothers. Before discussing this quota amount, I must mention the third article, the grading division of hunting teams. In the future, the teams under the hunting department will be divided into low, intermediate, and high levels. A low-level hunting team must meet a monthly quota of 15 low-level cold beasts, an intermediate team, 5 intermediate cold beasts, plus 20 low-level cold beasts. Of course, if inconvenient, 4 low-level can count as 1 intermediate. The advanced level will not be introduced for now, as the camp won't have one for a long time. This quota amount made everyone visibly relaxed. They're unclear about intermediate, but for a hunting team formed by over 5 earth-digging realm experts, hunting 15 low-level cold beasts a month isn't particularly challenging. Everyone, don't forget that meeting these quota amounts isn't without rewards. The cold beasts you hunt will still have their contribution points calculated the same way, and you'll get every point you're due. There's a reason for setting these regulations, and you should have a clear understanding of it. Yuan Dao's sincere words made everyone slightly ponder. No one was a fool, they certainly understood. The most important purpose of setting this quota is to maintain the supply of cold beast meat for the camp, as there are over 4,000 people, not just these 110, who need to eat cold beast meat. If they only cared about themselves, they wouldn't have to work so hard. However, the operational foundation of the Great Xia Camp has long been firmly established by Xia Hong. The contribution value rules emphasize the word contribution. Making contributions to the camp and procuring cold beast resources for those who have not yet grown, who are still weak, is an undeniable responsibility for those at the forefront and more powerful. Chapter 326, Chapter 173, New Regulations of the Hunting Department, Building Upgrade /2. Lord Chief, please continue, we understand. Indeed, what's 15 low-level cold beasts in a month? The leader used to lead 17 of us, bringing back 3 intermediate cold beasts every night for half a month straight. That was truly challenging. Thinking back now, during that time, we probably even held the leader back. Don't forget, from the 7th to the 15th, the leader hunted a total of 32 intermediate cold beasts. The hunting team originally intended to motivate everyone, but Yuan Cheng inadvertently mentioned Xia Hong's past hunting achievements. Upon hearing this, the entire wooden cabin instantly fell into a deathly silence. Compared to Xia Hong, the target set by Yuan Dao seemed not just low, but almost laughable. Will the leader laugh at us if he finds out? Lord Chief, should we perhaps raise the target a bit? I also feel it's too low. If the leader finds out, he'd blame us in his heart. Hearing the people of Great Xia propose to raise the target on their own initiative, Yuan Dao couldn't help but feel surprised and moved by Luo Yuan and the others' sincerity. Hunting is not an easy task, and death is commonplace. Luo Yuan and Yuan Cheng were surely aware of this, yet they still proposed to raise the target, showing their genuine desire to contribute to the camp, even at great risk. In Mirror Immortal Camp, there is no such spirit, not only lacking. Yuan Dao's expression slightly hardened as he turned to glance at Han Guang and the others. Han Guang and the others slightly lowered their heads, showing a look of shame. Last night's discussion of the hunting targets led them to believe even 15 was too high, repeatedly suggesting Yuan Dao lower the number further. It now seemed that despite the earth-digging realm of Great Xia being less powerful than theirs, their thoughts and perspectives were far superior. All right, the target is set for now. Further adjustments can be made based on the camp's overall beast meat consumption. Xia Chuan immediately spoke up, rejecting everyone's proposal. In fact, from the moment he saw the target, he made a rough calculation. According to Yuan Dao's rules, those qualified to form a hunting team in the camp were easy to identify. Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, Zhao Long, Zhao Hu, Zhao Bao, Huang Yang, Yuan Dao, Han Guang, Han Tianming, Yishu Ling, Xu Yuan, naturally including himself. Considering all 13 were interested in forming teams, the current camp could support 13 hunting teams, each with a monthly minimum of 15 low-level cold beasts, equating to at least 250,000 pounds of meat, considering each cold beast weighs 1,300 pounds. This meat output closely matched the current consumption of the camp. Of course, hunting teams would not just adhere to the minimum target. It's normal for fluctuations upwards, not to mention Yuan Dao himself, and even more so Xia Hong, who both have the ability to hunt intermediate cold beasts. Calculating this way, implementing the current rules would more than suffice to meet the camp's meat consumption. Thus, there's no need to raise the target. Yuan Dao continued speaking. Hearing Xia Chuan's words, Yuan Dao nodded and continued. Next is the 4th rule, the promotion rules for the hunting teams. No team is exempt. Any team that accumulates 50,000 total contribution value can participate in the intermediate hunting team promotion assessment. The assessment task requires successfully hunting 5 different intermediate cold beasts. 50,000 points. Hearing the stringent conditions for promotion to intermediate level, everyone couldn't help but click their tongues. The contribution value for low-level cold beasts ranges from 200 to 400 points, which means at least 200 heads must be hunted to qualify for the assessment. The assessment isn't simple either, as hunting 5 different intermediate cold beasts isn't easy, even for Yuan Dao. The difficulty of hunting varies with different cold beasts, especially with unfamiliar ones. The likelihood of disadvantage is high when encountering them for the first time. The 5th rule is about the number of team members, including the captain. A low-level hunting team is complete with 10 people, an intermediate team with 20 people, No team can exceed this limit. The sixth rule is about the members of the hunting department and the fixed amounts of coal and iron to be submitted. Everyone knows that only those in the earth-digging realm have the ability to mine, meaning being part of the hunting department equates to having mining capabilities. The daily coal and iron consumption and supplies of the camp rely on us, meaning every member has the duty to mine. Everyone nodded knowingly. Coal and iron mining are crucial to the camp, and all 110 earth diggers cannot avoid it. This will apply to future breakthroughs as well. For all members of the hunting department, the monthly minimum submission is 5,000 pounds of coal, 2,500 pounds of iron. The submitted resources can be converted into contribution value, recorded into personal accounts. Remember, this target applies under normal circumstances. During special periods, such as when the leader needs to break through, the target will increase. Everyone is okay with that, right? Of course, with the chewing teeth chisel, 5,000 pounds of coal and 2,500 pounds of iron are just a matter of 10 days. We can easily achieve that. If the leader requires more, I could stay in the mine every day. Lord Chief, we have no objections. Is there any other rule? Please tell us everything. We can't wait to go out hunting. Yuan Dao immediately felt relieved hearing the positive responses from everyone and said with a smile, "These 6 rules cover the most important aspects. For others, you can look into them yourself. Uncle Hong, please bring out the tags." Chapter 327, Chapter 173, New Regulations of the Hunting Department, Building Upgrade /3. Hong Guang, standing nearby, immediately pulled out a wooden plaque from behind him and placed it next to the furnace. The plaque had all the regulations of the hunting department written on it with a coal pen. Besides the 6 rules Yuan Dao had just mentioned, there were many more details included. From the naming rights of each hunting team to the duties and responsibilities of the team leaders, it almost covered every aspect. After gathering around to read it for a while, everyone understood it clearly. Different levels of hunting teams have merit rankings, which are settled monthly, and the top 5 get extra contribution value rewards. It's not just about merits. The total extraction of coal and iron is also ranked, and there are contribution value rewards too. In the future, for any changes involving the rules of the hunting department, will the director convene all the team leaders to discuss together. Hunting team leaders also have certain rights in the hunting department. It's mandatory to form a team, but recruiting people might be a bit difficult. Only those qualified can form teams. Picking a good leader is very important. The director should also create a hunting team himself, and the minister might too. I wonder if I can join his team. After reading the plaque's content, the crowd began to buzz with discussions. Some quick-witted individuals already started searching for suitable team members among the crowd. A few impatient ones, like Yuan Cheng and Hong Guang, even pulled people to the side, clearly planning to create their own hunting teams. Big Brother really didn't misjudge. This Yuan Dao is indeed a talent. Seeing the excited crowd below, Xia Chuan couldn't help but sigh inwardly. It's important to note that Yuan Dao only truly arrived in Great Xia just last night. Within such a short time, just coming up with the entire set of regulations for the hunting department was already challenging, let alone getting everyone to respond enthusiastically. The current fervor in the earth-digging realm to form hunting teams is undoubtedly the best testament to Yuan Dao's capability. Buzz. While everyone was fervently discussing. Suddenly, the furnace in the middle of the wooden hut first emitted a sound, followed by a burst of intense light. Everyone's expressions changed drastically. They all stopped discussing and turned their heads trying to see the furnace, but the intense light made it impossible for them to open their eyes. "Do not panic, it's something I created." Hearing Xia Hong's voice, everyone immediately calmed down. The new arrivals at the Mirror Immortal camp were still somewhat puzzled, but the people from Great Xia seemed to recall something, their faces revealing a hint of anticipation. Boom! The intense light suddenly dissipated, and a wave of heat accompanied by flames surged outward, covering everyone. What's going on? Why is it so warm outside the hut? That's not right. It's getting warm at the mouth of the valley too. It seems it's not because of the campfire. Something inside the wooden hut is emitting heat. Let's quickly go back and see. Hearing the voices from outside, the people inside the wooden hut sensed that the intense light had disappeared and opened their eyes straight away, immediately looking at the furnace. At this sight, Everyone from Great Xia was full of joy on their faces. The expressions of Yu and Dao and others from the Mirror Immortal camp were instantly frozen. In the center of the wooden hut, the furnace, originally just over a meter wide, had disappeared. In its place was a massive 3-meter-wide tripod cauldron. The surface of the giant cauldron was etched with intricate cloud-patterned fire designs. Its rim had 2 handles. Fierce flames leapt up 4 or 5 meters high, continuously radiating immense heat. The mere appearance of this giant cauldron evoked a sense of solemnity and sacredness, not to mention that the warmth it emitted seemed almost tangible, clearly felt by everyone. All eyes were fixed on the giant cauldron, and the entire wooden hut was silent for over 100 breaths before someone first spoke up. The leader has shown a divine sign again. This cauldron is much stronger than the original furnace. Can it fend off fiercer, deceitful monsters? The warming effect has also improved. It's warmer than before. I reckon it's not just that. Didn't hear what the people outside said just now. The radiation range is wider too. Now there's no need for campfires in the valley for warmth. The stunned look in Yuan Dao's eyes vanished upon hearing the discussions of the great Xia crowd, and his mind immediately recalled the words Hong Yu had just said. What he said turned out to be true. The furnace turning into a giant cauldron, and the vast range of heat it emitted was unusually large. Witnessing such a miraculous scene firsthand, Yuan Dao had finally come to fully believe Hong Yu's words. Polishing hammer, wooden mannequin, green bamboo fence, marking stone, medicine decoction pot. In an instant, an intense curiosity about other things Hong Yu mentioned flared up in Yuan Dao's heart. Coincidentally, at this time, Xia Hong's voice came from the back of the wooden hut. Xia Chuan, clear out 2 50-meter-wide square areas in the valley. The martial arts training ground will be recommissioned tomorrow night. Additionally, Cheng Feng and Mu Dong prepare to take over the new medicine workshop and forge. Yes, leader. Xia Chuan, Cheng Feng, and Mu Dong immediately bowed and answered. Whenever Xia Hong spoke, all of the great Xia people wore expressions of respect and even fervor, which had always puzzled Yuan Dao a bit. It was normal to be respectful and convinced of one's leader. But fervor seemed a bit excessive. Only after he witnessed the furnace's miraculous transformation did he faintly grasp a bit of understanding in his heart. And when Xia Chuan cleared out 2 open spaces in the valley, and Xia Hong casually waved his hand, making 2 buildings appear out of thin air, he truly understood. It wasn't just him, but Hong Guang, Hong Tian, the Mirror Immortal camp's earth-digging realm, the logging realm, and all ordinary people started to show a few threads of respect in their eyes after Xia Hong performed one divine act after another. Especially after understanding and experiencing the functionality of these buildings. The respect in their eyes was now visibly turning into fervor. Just like the people of Great Xia, precisely the same. Chapter 328, Chapter 174, Integration, revealing Yang's struggle of the director. First year of the Great Xia, March 21. In front of the valley, 2 temporary wooden huts stood tall. At the original site of the wooden building, the outline of a new structure was gradually taking shape as thousands of people carried timber and iron components in and out. Bring 5 iron stakes over here. 4 wooden dowels at the corner, and bring a big iron hammer as well. We need a beast skin tarp here. Go to the camp supply department and get one. I'll go get it right now. The construction noises were bustling. Mu Dong led the people of the craftsman department, moving through various parts of the site, allocating simple tasks to others while personally overseeing crucial parts. He, who was only supposed to guide the reconstruction as the director, turned out to be the busiest person on site. Seeing the director working so diligently, the others naturally felt more enthusiastic, leading to visible progress in the new wooden building's reconstruction. Behind the new building being constructed by everyone, there were also 2 conspicuous structures. The 2 buildings had essentially the same external design, both square, with sides measuring 20 meters, and a layer of mysterious fire cloud pattern covering the exterior walls. The only difference was that the left building had the character Martial on its door, while the right one had the character Forging. The people building the wooden huts couldn't help but feel excited and fervent whenever their eyes fell upon those 2 structures, with a strong sense of longing in their gaze. Do you think our new leader is actually a divine? Definitely, with just a wave of the hand, 2 buildings appeared. I've never seen anyone with such an ability before. Lord Minister said that a day of training in the martial arts hall equals 3 days outside. Do you think it's true? It should be true. Didn't you see how those people from Great Xia went crazy last night? Even at 50 contribution points a day, they were rushing in. Yuan Sijeng, Han Guang, and over 40 lords were all invited in for an experience. They've been inside all day. If it were fake, they wouldn't stay in there for so long. Increasing cultivation speed is incredible. I have to quickly earn contribution points, no matter what I must go in to train. I'm just over 1,000 pounds of strength away from reaching the earth-digging realm. Same here, as long as I can train inside, I'll soon break through. But those contribution values are hard to earn. Constructing the wooden building only gives 10 points a day, enough for trading beast meat, but swapping for anything else is difficult. Be content. Previously at the Mirror Immortal camp, we didn't even get much in a month. According to Great Xia's current rules, we could at least exchange for 20 pounds a day now, which was unthinkable before. You still find it hard to earn. Do you know why most of the spots for building the wooden building were given to us? On the east side of the wooden building, Hong Yu placed an iron component on the ground and interjected upon hearing the discussion among several people from the logging realm. The group seemed well acquainted with him and looked at him with curiosity as soon as they heard his voice. Indeed, of the over 1,000 people involved in building the wooden building from the logging realm, 90% were those who joined later from the Mirror Immortal group. Some with misunderstandings thought Great Xia saw them as mere laborers. Out of the 6 ministries of Great Xia, the logging realm can only enter 4. With the least number of people in the camp supply and craftsman departments, most won't get in. So, like me, you must have joined either the gathering department or the logging department, right? The group nodded upon hearing this. The camp supply department needed very few people, and entry was impossible unless they actively recruited. The craftsman department had even stricter requirements, needing Mu Dong's personal certification of crafting talent. Therefore, as Hong Yu said, the vast majority of the logging realm people from the Mirror Immortal sector could only join the gathering and logging departments. And it wasn't just them. The same applied to the logging realm of Great Xia. Seeing the group nod, Hong Yu continued, whether gathering or logging, unless a special situation arises, like discovering some unique medicinal material or useful new tree species for the camp. Otherwise, for regular logging realm people, calculate it yourself. How many points can you earn in one night? Hong Yu's question left them all stunned. Special situations aside, their most stable way to earn contribution values is actually chopping down trees. After the gathering competition ended, timber conversion resumed normalcy, 2,000 pounds of golden frost tree for 1 point, and 4,000 pounds of vermilion frost for 1 point. Around the outskirts of Redwood Ridge, the most common trees were these 2 kinds. For the logging realm, bringing back 3 trees a night was pretty much the limit, with each tree weighing about 5,000 to 6,000 pounds. Even if they chopped all golden frost trees, at most they'd earn 7 to 8 contribution points a night. Realizing this, they all suddenly understood. Hong Yu then spoke again, solemnly. Lord Minister probably knows we came here with almost no contribution values, fearing we wouldn't even be able to exchange for beast meat, which is why all the spots were given to us. But that's not right, Hong Yu. I see that almost every logging realm person in Great Xia is dressed in a complete set of clothes. How did they get their contribution points? After coming to Great Xia last night, the first thing these logging realm people inquired about was the price of clothes. They all knew that it takes 155 contribution points to exchange for a complete set. If it were as difficult to earn contribution points as Hong Yu said, it would be impossible for Great Xia to have widespread clothing. Hearing the question from everyone, Hong Yu pondered slightly. It's no wonder these logging realm people cared about the price of clothes. Although the Mirror Immortal camp was previously stronger than Great Xia, the prevalence of clothing wasn't as high as in Great Xia. Chapter 329. Chapter 174 Integration, Manifestation of Yang, Conflict of the Director /2. The issue still lies in the scarcity of cold beast resources. Although the clothing made from bamboo silk is exquisite and warm enough, due to the material issues, the amount of bamboo silk required to make one set of clothing is more than 100 times that of making a bowstring, making bamboo silk clothing not cost-effective. That's why previously, in Mirror Immortal camp, only a dozen people could wear clothing made of bamboo silk. Beast skin was so sparse that only those in the earth-digging realm could wear a complete set, with almost none in the logging realm being able to wear one. Contribution value is not just for yourselves. If you work hard and break through to the earth-digging realm, you can earn more contribution value and easily make a set of clothes for your wife and children. How long has Great Xia been implementing the contribution value system? Those in the logging realm should have saved enough already. It's just a set of clothes, no big deal. Suddenly, two young voices sounded from the side, answering everyone. When Hong Yu turned his head to look, a smile instantly appeared on his face. It was Meng Ao and Zhu Kang, both carrying a large piece of wood on their backs, evidently workers in the wooden building just like them. You two are here too. I thought you wouldn't be interested in these contribution points. Come on, how could I miss such a good opportunity? When the wooden building is completed, earning contribution points won't be this easy. The three grew up together, having an extremely close relationship and loved joking with each other. In fact, it should be four people, including Yuan Dao. It's just a pity that Yuan Dao's talent is higher. He broke through to the earth-digging realm first and is almost at the cold resistance level, gaining hunting ability, so the time the four spend together has reduced. After their banter, they all looked intentionally or unintentionally towards the martial arts hall, eyes filled with longing. Zhu Kang couldn't help but speak first. Brother Dao and the others have been in there for a day already, and the triple cultivation speed is most likely true. If we could get in and train sometimes, it would be great. Meng Ao nodded lightly, saying, with triple cultivation speed, if I could train inside and have enough cold beast meat, in at most 10 days I should be able to break through to the earth-digging realm. My strength is similar to yours. If I get into train, it should only take 10 days as well. After Hong Yu finished speaking, he thought of something and said, 50 contribution points per day, Lord said last night. Only 200 people can enter the martial arts hall each day to train. I estimate that in the future, spots to enter will definitely be competed for. Hearing this, Zhu Kang shook his head and said, no, if it's really by competition, then all the spots would be taken by those in the earth-digging realm. We, in the logging realm, already don't have as many contribution points as they do, and coupled with their higher status in the camp, we definitely couldn't compete if it were based on strength. Hong Yu immediately agreed, nodding. Based on the current rules of Great Xia, the spots in the martial arts hall should be like everything else, where those with higher cultivation have priority, but a small portion will be reserved for those with lower cultivation. Upon hearing this, Zhu Kang and Meng Ao nodded slightly, agreeing with the sentiment. They've been in Great Xia for 2 days now, and while they're not fully understanding, at the very least, they have a basic grasp of the camp's rules and system. To summarize Great Xia's current operational rules in one sentence, those with higher cultivation have priority, but no matter what, a small portion will be reserved for those with lower cultivation. Even such important resources as cold beast meat are subject to a distribution system. Hoarding is not allowed, and each person can exchange according to their needs. This non-restriction on beast meat supply is due to Great Xia's abundant cold beast resources, but even without scarcity, this free supply is a major psychological shock for people like them. After all, back at Mirror Immortal Camp, every pound of cold beast meat was precious. Due to their fathers, the three always had a sufficient supply of beast meat. But what about others? Just the beast meat supply alone is enough to make these people feel a strong sense of belonging to Great Xia. In time, I estimate no one will remember the words Mirror Immortal. Not just Mirror Immortal, the words Ningzhu will probably also be completely forgotten. As soon as Hong Yu spoke, Zhu Kang immediately followed up. The three exchanged glances, a complex expression flashing across their faces. After the downfall of Mirror Immortal Camp, among those who managed to escape, a large portion of the earth-digging and logging realms were former Ningzhu residents. Although Yuan Hu is dead, Yuan Dao is still around, along with their elders, such as Han Guang and 4 others, actually preferring the idea of rebuilding Ningzhu camp with Yuan Dao instead of merging with Great Xia. But unfortunately, circumstance is stronger than man, and those 5 probably saw that Xia Hong would not allow such a thing, so when Yuan Dao proposed the merger into Great Xia, they all acquiesced. Due to their father's influence, Hong Yu and the others also had thoughts of rebuilding Ningzhu camp. But having been in Great Xia only 2 days, they've come to realize gradually that such thoughts are impossible to fulfill. Clinging to the words Ningzhu is not a good thing. No matter where we are, our goal is nothing more than to constantly become stronger and then live a better life. If Great Xia can help us achieve that, then we will stay in Great Xia forever and become a part of Great Xia, which is not a bad thing, is it? Meng Ao was the first to break the silence, and upon hearing his words, both Zhu Kang and Hong Yu showed agreement in their eyes but did not respond right away. By the way, have Uncle Hong and the others formed a hunting team? Chapter 330. Chapter 174 Integration, Manifestation of Yang, Conflict of the Director /3. Seeing that the two did not respond, Meng Ao directly changed the topic and asked about something else. Zhenwu team. Xunwu team. Meng Ao chuckled and said, Xunwu team. The fathers of the three, Meng Yi, Zhu Ling, and Han Guang, are all at the earth-digging realm with the cultivation of reshaping skin, naturally qualifying them to form hunting teams. Not just them, my second uncle also formed one, called the Heroic Team. My second uncle as well, his team is called the Divine Martial Team. Zhu Kang's second uncle is Zhu Yuan, Hong Yu's second uncle is Hong Tian. Hearing that the 5 people from Mirror Immortal all formed hunting teams, the 3 showed excitement on their faces. There are 42 of us who came over together to the earth-digging realm. Theoretically, we can form 8 teams. It just depends on whether they can all integrate. Brother Dao should also form a team later. Right now, besides the leader, he's the only one capable of leading a hunt for intermediate cold beasts. The leader won't step in. I heard from my father that the first intermediate hunting team from the camp, without any surprise, will definitely be led by Brother Dao. I'm just waiting to break through to the earth-digging realm to see if I can join Brother Dao's team. You're not joining your dad's team but his. You're crazy. I don't care, these hunting teams aren't hereditary. When I get stronger, I might even create one myself. All right, stop blabbering, get to work, Lord Chief is coming. Seeing Mu Dong approach from a distance, the 3 immediately stopped chatting and went back to work. Behind the temporary wooden house, in a room separated by wooden planks, Xia Hong sat quietly in a chair, listening to Xia Chuan's report. Big brother, the matters of the hunting department have already gotten on track. Today I went to Yuan Dao to learn about it. There are currently 10 newly established hunting teams, and all 110 earth-digging realm cultivators in the camp are included. I have a list here. Xia Chuan spoke while taking out a beast skin roll and handed it directly to Xia Hong. Opening the beast skin roll, the first name was shockingly Yuan Dao. Yuan Dao, Dragon Wu Team 8 members. Xia Chuan, Cloud Jiao Team 10 members. Luo Yuan, Tiger Leopard Team 10 members. Yuan Cheng, Dragon Slayer Team 10 members. Zhao Long, Falcon Hunting Team 10 members. Zhao Hu, Steel Main Team 10 members. Zhao Bao, Golden Eagle Team 10 members. Huang Yang, Zhao Long Team 8 members. Hong Guang, Chunwu Team 7 members. Hong Tian, Divine Martial Team 6 members. Zhu Ling, Zhenwu Team 5 members. Zhu Yuan, Heroic Team 7 members. Meng Yi, Xingwu Team 9 members. After reading the entire list, Xia Hong's brow immediately furrowed. The numbers of the 6 teams, including Yuan Dao, add up to exactly 42. The 7 teams on Xia Chuan's side add up to exactly 68. Big brother, this was all spontaneously organized. I thought it seemed a bit off at first too, but thinking about it carefully, these folks from Mirror Immortal, after all, have only been here for 2 days. There's no way they would integrate so quickly with us. Hearing Xia Chuan's explanation, Xia Hong's brow slightly relaxed, and he sighed inwardly. The 2 groups are not just clearly separated by their members. Even the names of the teams are distinctly divided, which is not a good sign. But just as Xia Chuan said, Yuan Dao and his group have only been here for 2 days. It's normal that they haven't integrated quickly with Great Xia. Let it go for this time, but for any future breakthroughs to the earth-digging realm, they must no longer differentiate like this. Whether through guidance or coercion, by any means necessary, they must be mixed. We need to accelerate the integration process at the higher levels. Understood, big brother. Detecting the seriousness in Xia Hong's tone, Xia Chuan nodded emphatically in response. With Great Xia's current system, both the logging realm and the ordinary people below will eventually integrate. However, for those like Yuan Dao and Han Guang, who are relatively strong, fully integrating them and making them members of Great Xia won't be so simple. Have you selected a candidate for the camp supply department director? Yes, Qiu Peng. Qiu Peng is also one of the oldest people in Great Xia. Xia Hong nodded slightly, then looked at Xia Chuan and slowly asked, "Do you think letting go of the Pioneer Department Director position might be better?" Xia Chuan almost instantly understood the implication in Xia Hong's words. He immediately showed a trace of resistance on his face and said, "Big brother, the importance of the Hunting Department Director position should be clear to you. It's already considered generous to let Yuan Dao take it. If we further give away the Pioneer Department Director position freely, how should we, on Great Xia's side, find our position? Surely, the brothers will have opinions." Seeing Xia Hong remain silent, Xia Chuan continued, "Mirror Immortal was originally on the losing side. Not begrudging past grudges is already very good. There's really no need to accommodate them. Moreover, it's not that we're preventing them from taking the Pioneer Department Director position. It's just fair competition. Whoever can ultimately take it depends on their own abilities." Seeing Xia Chuan's stance of resistance, Xia Hong slightly shook his head, pressed down his own thoughts, then turned his head to look at him, slightly teasing. "Fair competition? I think not. Didn't you gather Luo Yuan, Yuan Cheng, and the others today to say you want them to work together to push Xiping to the top?" Hearing this, Xia Chuan was taken aback and looked up at Xia Hong, a bit stunned on his face. Though he did not speak, the expression on his face clearly suggested, "Big brother, how do you know what we talked about? Around the wooden house, whatever you say or do cannot be hidden from me." Xia Hong chuckled twice, his pupils flashed with a trace of arrogance. Chapter 331. Chapter 174 Fusion, Manifestation of Yang, Conflict of the Director /4. After the skin remodeling was completed, it wasn't just his basic strength that was enhanced. His 5 senses also saw a massive improvement. Within a 200-meter radius, he could clearly perceive any slight movement. Big brother's strength has grown even more. Xia Chuan thought that Xia Hong had once again refined his strength, and a look of admiration rose in his eyes. Then he recalled the previous issue and said solemnly, "Big brother, the great Xia talks about the 6 ministries, but the hunting and pioneer departments are clearly the most important. The hunting department has already been given to Yuan Dao. We can't let the pioneer department also go to their people. We must keep it in our hands. The people below have started to vie for power and profit." This thought flashed through Xia Hong's mind, and he sighed slightly. To be fair, the Great Xia currently has less than 5,000 people in total, which is actually quite small in scale. The positions of minister and the directors of the 6 departments, apart from the title and status, he didn't give any tangible benefits. But one can't help it, that's just human nature. If you all want to compete among yourselves, I won't manage it. However, there's one rule that everyone must abide by. Do not attack your own people. Whoever dares to break this rule, I will not spare them. Xia Hong almost said the last sentence, while staring directly into Xia Chuan's eyes. "Understood, big brother." Hearing Xia Hong's stern tone for the first time, Xia Chuan naturally etched these words firmly into his mind. "Go notify Yuan Dao to come to see me. I have something to ask him." Xia Chuan nodded, and immediately retreated to carry out the order. "Leader, Yuan Dao requests an audience." Soon, Yuan Dao's voice came from outside the door. "Come in." Seeing Yuan Dao walk into the room, his aura was still somewhat unstable. Remembering that he spent the whole day at the martial arts hall, Xia Hong asked with a smile, "How's the martial arts hall?" From the moment he walked into the room, Yuan Dao looked at Xia Hong with a gaze full of reverence. Upon hearing the question, he didn't even think before answering. "A marvelous treasure, no, marvelous treasure is inadequate to describe it. It should be called a divine object instead." Listening to the full-on awe in Yuan Dao's tone, Xia Hong smiled slightly. Yuan Dao's reaction was normal. The people of Great Xia, having been with him for a long time, had grown accustomed to the marvels of the system's structures, so their reactions weren't as big. "Did the leader call me about the hunting department issue? No, for these matters, just discuss with Xia Chuan. I called you because I have some questions to ask you personally." Xia Hong interrupted Yuan Dao, then gestured for him to sit down and asked, "How much do you know about the superior battle body?" While fighting the deceitful monster at the Mirror Immortals camp, Yuan Dao had mentioned the superior battle body. Xia Hong had heard it then. Yuan Dao was taken aback by the question. Seeing Xia Hong's genuinely inquisitive expression, he realized that Xia Hong truly didn't know about the superior battle body, and his expression became a bit chaotic. Unaware of the superior battle body, yet he broke through the cold resistance level. Leader, don't you know you're a superior battle body? How did you control the amount when using beast blood for skin remodeling before? Hearing this question, Xia Hong arched an eyebrow and casually said, I would use it up to my limit, increasing the amount as long as I could endure it. Gulp. Yuan Dao swallowed a mouthful of saliva, his expression towards Xia Hong changing instantly. He also underwent skin remodeling, and was well aware of how painful it was to use beast blood. As long as I could endure it, I kept increasing the amount. He couldn't even imagine the price paid behind this statement. Leader, what's the maximum amount of beast blood you've used in a single session? 10 jin, 15 jin, or 20 jin? Xia Hong's expression was odd, and he didn't answer the question. Thinking he'd guessed correctly, Yuan Dao continued to talk. The upper, middle, lower 3 battle bodies were the same as what Gao Yu, Yuan Han, mentioned when he came to Great Xia previously. Only, Gao Yu didn't mention the superior battle body. After Yuan Dao's explanation, Xia Hong understood it too. As the name suggests, the superior battle body is 1 level higher than upper. The distinction is that those with this level of battle body talent will have their basic strength soar to a minimum of 3 mained, or 300,000 jin, when breaking through the cold resistance level. And the highest? My father once told me that the highest he's seen is 6 main power. Yuan Han. Upon hearing this name, a look of hatred appeared in Yuan Dao's eyes, and he nodded. Yuan Han possesses more than just 6 main power. Recalling the power Yuan Han demonstrated after Mirror Immortal's death, Xia Hong's brows slightly furrowed. At that time, Yuan Han's sword bore at least the power of 8 manes. Clearly, Yuan Hu and Yuan Dao didn't have a complete understanding of Yuan Han. Seeing Xia Hong lower his head in contemplation, Yuan Dao didn't interrupt but stood quietly by his side, waiting. After a long while, Xia Hong finally raised his head and continued asking, Do you know about the level of cultivation after cold resistance level? Yuan Dao's expression became a bit solemn, and after a long pause he finally spoke. I only heard Yuan Han mention it once. It seems to be called the Xianyang level. Listening to his unsure tone, Xia Hong also gave up pursuing further questions, realizing that Yuan Dao was likely only half informed. Xianyang level. Does it mean to be completely exposed under the sunlight? Xia Hong furrowed his brows and didn't continue pondering. Instead, he looked at Yuan Dao, his face showing a hint of a smile, and asked, The last question, what's the story with Ningzhu camp? Upon hearing the words Ningzhu, Yuan Dao's complexion immediately froze, subsequently changing several times before he directly knelt down and said, Leader, has someone been spreading nonsense? Please inform me, and I will certainly punish this person severely. This Yuan Dao is indeed smart. He hadn't even said anything yet, merely mentioning Ningzhu camp, and Yuan Dao could guess so much. Don't be nervous. I'm not accusing you of anything. I just heard it by coincidence and wanted to ask you about it. You are a smart person and I trust you, which is why the hunting department is entrusted to you. Integrating over 3,000 people into Great Xia won't be easy. During this time, pay more attention and cooperate well with Xia Chuan to expedite the fusion of the 2 groups. Do you understand? Recognizing the weight in Xia Hong's tone, Yuan Dao's expression also gradually turned serious. He knelt low and respectfully replied, Rest assured, leader, I understand. You can compete for the position of Pioneer Department Director, but don't make it too ugly. And remember one rule, tell Han Guang and the others when you return, no one is allowed to attack our own people. This is the bottom line, and whoever dares to break it, I won't spare them. Yes, leader, I will definitely convey the message. All right, go on with your work. Yuan Dao respectfully stood up, saluted, and slowly withdrew. Left alone in the room, Xia Hong took out a white mirror from behind and gazed into it thoughtfully. Chapter 332, Chapter 175, 5-8 Mountain, Xiaohe Camp. On the north shore of the Xing River, the air was filled with a large fog of frost. No doubt due to proximity to the river, the temperature here was even lower than in other places, as could be seen from the depth of the snow on the ground and the thickness of the ice crystals on the trees. Second sister, it seems the cold air from Xing River is spreading faster towards this mountain wall. Is the cold tide coming again? By the side of a big tree on the north shore, a young man dressed in a blue beast skin coat, holding an iron axe, looked at the icy river to the south, noticing the chill fog spreading towards him, and quickly looked up to ask. Above the tree, a young girl dressed in the same blue beast skin coat was also gazing into the distance, in the same direction as the young man. Unlike the young man, besides the stone axe in her hand, the girl also had a set of bow and arrows on her back. Her long hair was tied into a ponytail with a hairpin made from frost wolf bone, and she wore a pair of blue beast skin boots. Though her skin was as rough as the young man's, her brows and eyes gleamed with a lively energy. Xiao Yu already had her brows furrowed, and upon hearing her brother Xiao Hen's inquiry, they knitted even tighter. She leaped down from the tree and went straight to him, twisting his ear. "You're already 15 this year, the leader's son, and you can't even remember when the cold tide period is. It looks like you need some discipline." "Ouch, it hurts," second sister Mercy. "I remembered it happens once a year and 12 months have passed. The cold tide is coming." Seeing her brother pleading for mercy, Xiao Yu gave him another twist before letting go and said irritably, "If it wasn't for the cold tide coming, why would Dad have us cutting wood so hard recently? He takes Big Sister and the hunting team out almost every night. You're really not paying attention to anything at the camp." Xiao Hen rubbed his ear and grinned. "Hunting is indeed needed, but there's no need to stockpile wood. We have a coal mine and the cold tide will easily." Before he could finish, Xiao Hen was silenced by Xiao Yu's intimidating gaze. "It's easy for you to say. Can you mine coal? The camp produces only a little every month and we have to exchange it for iron and other supplies. We must be frugal. If you keep wasting resources like this, our camp would have collapsed long ago." Seeing that Xiao Yu was starting to get angry, Xiao Hen shrank his neck, quickly raised his stone axe to start chopping wood, and changed the topic. "Second sister, let's just keep chopping wood and aim to bring back 3 logs tonight." "You little rascal." Seeing her brother's mischievous expression, Xiao Yu couldn't help but tease, but she didn't say anything more and joined in the wood chopping. Her little brother was kind, good-hearted and gifted, just a bit immature and careless about camp affairs. But that's understandable, being the youngest in the family, with father, mother, big sister and herself doting on him, which shaped his current personality. Fortunately, though immature, Xiao Hen has never caused any real trouble for the camp, and can distinguish the important issues in critical moments. For instance, with these wood-cutting tasks, neither his parents, big sister, nor she wanted him to do it, but he insisted, saying that as the leader's son, he should lead by example. This shows that his immaturity is only temporary. As he gets more involved in camp affairs, he'll naturally become more mature. Luckily, Xiao He camp is strong enough on 5-8 Mountain, giving her brother enough time to grow. Squeaka. After they had chopped for a while, suddenly a whistle came from the south of the forest. "Father and big sister are back," Xiao Hen exclaimed in surprise, quickly turning to look to the south. Xiao Yu also stopped chopping, her face breaking into a smile. Every safe return of the hunting team was good news for them. As the figures to the south gradually appeared, revealing none missing, the siblings' smiles grew even brighter. "Wow, 3 beasts." Xiao Hen was the first to notice that the approaching group was carrying 3 large cold beasts, led by 2 thorny wolves and followed by a snow mane. The siblings knew what to expect from each of the hunting team's trips. Bringing back 1 prey was already worth celebrating, 2 was almost unthinkable, and 3 had never happened before. More crucially, cold beast resources were scarce on this north shore, and the only thing they usually managed to find and successfully hunt were thorny wolves. If it wasn't for having traded coal stone with other camps in the past, the siblings wouldn't even recognize a snow mane. Not only 3 beasts, but 1 more person too. Compared to her brother Xiao Hen, Xiao Yu's insight was evidently sharper. She immediately noticed that there were 16 people approaching from the south. The team that went out tonight had only 15 people, so how come there were 16 coming back? Although they wore puzzled expressions, they relaxed as soon as they recognized the 2 leading the group. At the forefront were a middle-aged man and a girl slightly older than themselves. Upon seeing the 2, Xiao Yu and her brother showed deep affection and hurried forward. "Father, big sister." "Father, big sister." After calling out to Father Xiao Kengcheng and big sister Xiao Ning, their eyes simultaneously turned to the person standing beside big sister, showing a hint of curiosity. The siblings were perceptive, noticing that among the 16 people present, 15 wore the same blue beast skin clothing as them, except the one standing alongside their father and sister, who was dressed in a black cloak.